Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. If you please honor our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Council Nguyen.
Here.
Council Elliott.
Here.
Council Kennedy.
Here.
Council Leahy. Council Laurie.
Here.
Council Martin.
Here.
Council Mendonça.
Here.
Council Mercia.
Here.
Mayor Murphy.
Here.
9 present.
Thank you. First, under Mayor's business, we have a citation recognizing the retiring UML men's hockey announcer Chaz Coggins. The citation to present: be it hereby known to all that the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts hereby offers its sincere gratitude to Chaz Coggins in recognition of more than 40 years of informing and entertaining us with colorful stories and insight from the front lines of Boston and Lowell sports, as well as bringing radio listeners along for the adventure of dozens of UMass Lowell hockey games over the last 18 years. By coloring in the pictures for Bob Ellis's play-by-play, Chaz made the action on the ice just as exciting for those listening on the radio as those sitting in the arena. The entire city of Lowell thanks Chaz for his service and wishes him the best of luck in his much-deserved retirement, given this 28th day of May, 2013.
Didn't know I was expected to speak, but tell you, I'm not a native of the city. Moved to Chelmsford when I was 14, but Lowell's been my home since 1970 for the last 45 years, and I love the city as much as anybody else. It's been great to do things to bring to the city. I always thought minor league baseball would be a huge success here if it was tried again, and it has been. It's given me great pleasure to write for the public, and I thank the city of Lowell for this honor.
Congratulations. Next, we have the city clerk's portion of the agenda, minutes of the city council meeting of May 21st, neighborhood subcommittee of May 21st for acceptance. Councilman Mendonça.
On the regular meeting minutes, it probably needs correcting. On the bottom of page 1, motion by Councilor Elliott, there's a line about in council, seconded by Councilor Mercier. That sentence probably needs to be removed. So I'd like to just refer this back to the clerk for correction. I don't know if there are any other corrections, but for that one, it could be brought back next week. And I'll move to, in addition to referring this back to the clerk, accepting the subcommittee minutes.
So moved by Councilman Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have city manager's portion of the agenda, communication from city manager, responses to city council motions and requests. Any discussion? Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. I thought someone else was going to go first. I had a few questions. On Council Laurie's motion for the, plans for the Memorial Auditorium and surrounding area, I had a question about the lighting poles and the crosswalks. Do we maintain those lights around there now? Or, because some of them are broken, some of them are out, and the crosswalks need painting and stuff, so was that all?
Well, that's not, I think the Councilor Laurie's motion was more of a strategy or a 5-year plan of large-scale investments or ways we can work with property owners in that area. But with regards to the specifics of the crosswalk and the lights in that area, we are, the last time I was down in that area, I myself noticed some of the lights were out, so we're in the process of getting those. But more, I think more importantly is that we also noted that the lighting to the Davidson lot is not good. That's something that clearly has been the case for some time. But we saw an opportunity, or we see an opportunity to make some improvements there with the MRT's investments, with the work taking place at the auditorium. So we actually have a plan that we're putting in place to add additional, to fix the lights that are down there, but add additional lights leading to the Davidson lot, new sidewalks, and a new raised crosswalk to replace the crosswalk that's there. So that's something we're going to be doing over the, at a different location, more in line with the sidewalks from the parking lot over to the auditorium. So that's something we'll be doing in the course of the next month or so, month to 2 months.
All right, and then I have one other question on Mayor Murphy's response for the neighborhood, let's see, explore potential and community design process for welcoming gateway and other signage in the city's neighborhood business districts. So is that all entry points and all signage, like the signage we had discussed over at Western Ave, where they have all the signs on the fence now? We're gonna do,
I think this is more the signage into neighborhood business districts or neighborhood areas as opposed to something specific like that. I suppose you could argue that that's leading into the Western Ave neighborhood, but this is more the historical neighborhoods of the city, like Centerville, Pawtucketville, Lower Highlands, and so on. But that signage that you just noticed leading to the Western Ave Studios is one that I know you and I have talked about, that we need to do something to consolidate those signs, and we're trying to develop a strategy to deal with that.
all right, and even like over at the police garages, we have all the old signage up. We're gonna try to do something with that.
Those are being converted over to show the neighborhood, the people coming into that neighborhood of the Cambodia Town district.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilor Kennedy and Councilor Laurie.
Yeah, regarding item J, item J was never referred to the city manager's office, and in fact was replaced with a substitute motion that was referred directly to the auditorium board of trustees. So I don't know how it ended up here, but I believe that you were not, I don't think you were at that meeting, so maybe that's why.
Actually, I was at that meeting. I recall that discussion. But I must have missed that. But I think the response indicates that the oversight, this is J, right?
Yes.
Right. The J, that the Board of Trustees, how the Board of Trustees will be, conducting the oversight of the course of the contract.
Yep.
Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank Mr. Bakey and his department. I did put in for a 5-year economic vision along the auditorium. You know, it's not just that we have a new company going in, but we do have the Davison Street lot, and I know some of my colleagues who are on the council a lot longer than I guess there was a courthouse plan there at one time, but we do have the parking lot. The hospitals have merged, and that is a big concern for me in that area, what's going to happen. And I think the good news, just on the other side of the canal, is Mass Mills. There was talk of some investment down there again, and those mills being redone. So that's going to be a very active area. Unfortunately, we did have a fire. There's an open lot there, but there's a lot of small businesses there also on East Merrimack Street and High. So it does have a lot of potential. So I appreciate the work that the DPD is doing on that. I appreciate the work at Father Kerwin Playground. I got a call, the basketball court is in tough shape, the baskets themselves, and there was a lot of graffiti on the playground. I guess it's been cleaned up. we're coming into the summer programs very quickly, so it'd be nice to see that area. And I know I'd put in for a splash pad up at O'Donnell's, and I think that's gonna be a reality. So, it'd be nice to see the Grove, which I think has been shut out for years, get Father Kerwin refurbished, and then the splash pad up at O'Donnell's, up at Sweet Village. So that's great for that part of the city. And I want to thank Eric Eby for the work down at the Hellenic Orthodox Holy Trinity Church in St. Patrick's. I was hoping to get crosswalks. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but we should be able to get signs, he said, down there that, that this crossing, and make it a little bit safer. I guess it's become a speedway down there. Of course, those are straight streets. And, but I just want to thank the DPD, Mr. Bakey, and the administration for taking care of these issues. Thank you.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mayor. On election, I think through the managers to the city solicitor, we know that a number of steps has been implemented and commissioner has been assigned precinct. How does that work in terms of assigning a commissioner to precinct?
The commissioners divided the city up into essentially 4 quadrants, and that had been done in the past, although it had never been successfully implemented. What was happening in the past is that the commissioners would divide the city up, but then as the day would go along, they would go out of their jurisdictions, and it's just intended to be a more orderly way of conducting the election and having one point person for a group of polling locations.
Did you encounter difficulty recruiting poll workers this year as opposed to what happened last year?
I think that we still have a lot of training to conduct, but overall there was improvement in the training, and as a result there was improvement with the poll workers. And one of the things that I had noted in the report was the creation and distribution of a training manual they could take with them and they could have during the course of an election. And the feedback that we've received was that people found that very helpful.
Question regarding, I know the last time you talked about having a phone bank, a couple of stations somewhere in the city hall to assist people who does not know where to go and whether or not they registers and where they go and all that, the other thing. Was that happen this time around, or that's the system?
Excuse me, we did not utilize a phone bank, and that was primarily because the turnout was so low. There really wasn't the need to have a phone bank. We were, however, prepared that in the event that the polling locations were more active than we anticipated, that we could set it up very quickly. So we were ready to go if needed, but it ultimately wasn't needed.
All right. Thank you for the report on that. The other question I have is on and the Sun Building. I thank you, Adam, for, again, this is the second or third time that council requests this, and like other councils, I too got a call and complain about this, but in the actual construction's not going, we don't have the exact date for the actual construction yet, do we? And what can you estimate maybe, giving maybe just a guess in a ballpark when that's going to happen? I know they have a number of financial issues.
Yeah, it's difficult to do anything other than guess, because it really is a case where this is a privately owned building and it's a private construction project. But the building commissioner has required them to perform certain work on certain timelines. So a component of the work, the most immediate public safety hazard related to that building at the moment is the abandoned fire escape that's hanging on the backside of the building. And the contractor who has been hired now to remove that has had some discussions with the building commissioner, and we're expecting them to be pulling a permit literally any day now to get started on that. Unfortunately, that will not have any effect on the presence of the scaffold, which I realize is what people are more concerned about. The building commissioner has also issued some letters regarding concerns about the condition of the exterior masonry on the building, and feeling that the current sort of temporary repairs that are in place and have now been repaired a second time over the course of the last couple of years will need another very thorough scrutiny and probably another round of repairs if they don't start permanent construction before the fall. So I know the owners of the building have indicated that they would like to try to start construction before the fall and winter season to avoid having to do another interim repair step. But that sounds like that's going to be dependent on their ability to finalize putting their overall financing package together. And I think we've talked at length in the past about the complexity of how this project is financed along with another building over on Market Street and the level of work that they have to do to convince or to get the funding they need from HUD to make that all happen. And it's really at this point not something that we really have any control over the timing of.
So the actual construction is not going to happen anytime soon. We as a city making sure that there's safety issues being addressed in this building.
Yeah, we've really been approaching this property from a couple different perspectives, the most important of which is the public safety perspective. And the issue with this building is that the deterioration of the system that actually holds the masonry skin onto the steel frame of the building, that's where the deterioration is happening. And so the biggest concern is pieces of the masonry actually falling from the building and potentially being a hazard on the sidewalk below. That is the reason that we have, through the building commissioner, required them to erect a strong and substantial scaffold that can actually catch anything that may fall. We have also, for the same reason, that's why we have required them to put all of the, what almost look like large Band-Aids practically, literally, on the building in order to actually protect from further water infiltration into the areas where you're starting to see the deterioration on the inside of the building. And that, so that's the number one thing. The second issue for us has been obviously the impact of the appearance of the building on the downtown, on the businesses that have to survive literally underneath that scaffold and so forth. And we don't have a kind of code enforcement tool for dealing with that, because ultimately the very thing that's the problem is actually there to address a code issue of public safety, so the scaffold. But what we have tried to do is find ways to support the building owner in their efforts to get financing. And we have done everything from literally offering them a grant and a loan as part of an effort to try to help facilitate their financing package, to working as a liaison with the Congresswoman's office to help see if that's helpful in terms of getting HUD support that they need. So we just have not yet gotten to something that gets them to the point where they have enough financing together and have a contractor in place and can start construction. But we really, obviously, I'm very sympathetic to the concerns of the council and even more sympathetic to the concerns of the people who call you all regularly about that building. But ultimately, other than addressing the public safety issues and the code violations, which for better or worse have been addressed on a temporary basis, it's very difficult to compel them to renovate a building that they don't have the money to do yet until they can do that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Any further discussion on the communications? Entertain a motion to accept and place on file. So moved by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Laurie. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, under my communications, there is a presentation that on our trash and recycling program that I would like to make, and I can make that now, or I can make it at the end of the city manager's section, whatever makes the most sense. It might make sense to go through the other communications and other votes and maybe the public hearing and then do that, but I'll leave that up to the council.
What's the wish of the council? Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I support taking that out of order. I would support that. You can do that.
I'll second take it up now.
Motion to suspend the rules by
Take it up
Councilor
now.
Mercia, second by Councilor Mendonça. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. We have the communication from the city manager, a presentation of the new solid waste contract. Mr. Manager?
What we have in your packet is a memo that outlines a number of key points of a new solid waste contract that we'll be executing with a waste hauler, waste management company. There was a very competitive bidding process between a number of haulers, trash or solid waste companies, and we ended up going with the lower bid which was a waste management company that has extensive experience. We'll be bringing in, much like Allied Waste, but they'll be bringing in new equipment and quite a bit of understanding of our goals in terms of recycling. So I've awarded that contract and we'll be hammering that out. But I wanted to give you a brief presentation on what this contract consists of so that you have a clear understanding of the goals that we have in mind and how this is intended to work. The first thing I would say is that we're looking at this as roughly $2.8 million is indicated there, but in fact the actual savings that we anticipate will be closer to $5 million over the course of the 5 years. Within your packets you can see some information regarding this, but let me go on with some of the detail that I have here. Is that what we'll be putting forth is 24,500 new 96-gallon single-stream recycling carts distributed to all eligible residents at no cost. That will be included within the contract. We will move to a bi-weekly pickup of recycling rather than a weekly pickup of recycling. And I know that might seem like it's a counterintuitive to our goal to increasing recycling. We will still be tricking up trash on a weekly basis, obviously, but what we see here with recycling is essentially going to what is utilized in many other communities of a bi-weekly pickup with one additional wrinkle, and that is the very large recycling cart. Going to the bi-weekly pickup obviously saves us money. These 96-gallon single-stream recycling carts can hold a tremendous amount of recycling, and by being able to do this on a bi-weekly basis, we're able to utilize these carts that we will show you right now. You can see that the new green recycling bin is substantially larger than our standard solid waste bin, as evidence of our emphasis on recycling. One of the complaints that we received from a number of the residents, particularly some of our senior citizens, is that lugging these recycling bins around filled with glass and paper and bottle and cans and so on are quite a bit heavier. So most people have, is that it? Most people have one bin that's utilized for plastics and glass and one that's utilized for paper. As we require, right now we require people to separate those two products. Some people, the good recyclers, actually put out, excuse me, I want to prove this. If some people put out the larger bin, we do make stickers available to people, and they put out the larger bin the bill has right there. But we're going to show you what people can do. If they're the people that have just used one of each, if we could put one of each in. And I promise there's not a hole cut out underneath the bin that goes downstairs. And then if they have 2 weeks' worth, they'll throw in another bin. And then, in fact, they tell me that the other, I have not actually seen this. Never a good thing to do. Everyone, fingers crossed. And if we could show that the other bin, Bill, for the people that put one of these out, you can still put all of that in. And we didn't just crush these up to put them in, as you can see. Henry was adding things to the pile earlier today. We do all of our newspaper reading online. And no, but these will take newspapers as well, and the cover comes right over and handles enough for clearly 2 weeks and then some for our best recyclers plus. We find people for having, yes, we do find people for having this, the trash lit up, and we'll find people for having that lit up as well. No, not really.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know.
So that's very good. That's a demonstration of our new trash program, and it's very easy to wheel around, as you can see. Our goal by going to the single stream is to increase our recycling rate to 35%, which will result in a 12% decrease in our solid waste. The new contract also calls for collection of all 450 city park barrels for free by Waste Management. We'll also be adding 15 free Big Belly solar trash compactor units under this contract. And we will be able to purchase additional Big Belly solar trash compactor units at cost.
Just for the people at home, I'm sure those things are going to be delivered to the homes.
Yes.
What do they do with the old green ones?
The old green ones, we will pick those up.
So put them out when you're getting, okay, great.
Yes. And they will all of the barrels will be RFID coded so that we'll be able to track these barrels to make sure that they're at the barcodes, to make sure that they're at the right addresses that they're assigned to. We'll also be diverting waste streams through the creation of a new recycling drop-off yard that Waste Management will operate for us, operating 2 Saturdays a month, helping with the management of refuse that will be in addition to curbside, which would include tires, textiles, yard waste, organics, propane tanks, electronics, bulky plastic items, batteries, medical Sharpies. They'll sell all of the recyclables from that and provide us with 80% of the sales, resulting in new revenue source for the city. This gives you a breakdown of how we see the savings taking place here. That right now we appropriate $6.1 million, $6.182 million, carrying that forward from fiscal year 14 to fiscal year 18. That would, under this new program, that would be reduced to $5.1 million. That is a savings of about $1 million. I know that the handout that we showed before showed a different calculation on based upon some other numbers, but it'll be about $1 million, about $5 million total over our current rate. We do have the additional revenue. We will be receiving a $850,000 cash rebate from Waste Management that will be spread over a couple of years to even out the solid waste costs for those full 5 years. You can see on this graph, and I know that these are, I believe these were all sent out, but this shows where we are for the past 5 years, as high as $5.9 million. By increasing our recycling rate, we've gotten that down to 5.5, but beginning next year, we expect that to be about 5.1, rising to almost 5.3, and then dropping back down in fiscal year 16. It's the way we actually allocate that $850,000. So this contract will save the city about $5 million over the current program costs. It will increase our recycling rate, we believe, to about 35% through the ease of single-stream recycling as well as education, decrease our solid waste rate by 12%, may make recycling more user-friendly with these single-stream carts. We'll be able to divert new waste streams with the drop-off. We'll be getting those solar barrels. We'll be picking up the park barrels with this contract. will be in receiving that $850,000. So it's a very good contract. We appreciate the competition that took place with all of the companies and the work that Gunther did on this project, as well as Ralph Snow and Ed Patnod and a number of other city staff people. But this is where we see the city heading over the course of the next 5 years with our solid waste program.
Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to this city manager. Mr. Manager, is there a vote required here by us this evening?
There is not a vote on the contract. We will be coming forward with new trash ordinances that will mirror some of these changes as well. So that's where there'll be a city council vote.
So you already awarded this contract and this council has no say on it?
Under the statute, I'm the awarding authority.
This didn't have to go out to bid, did it?
It didn't, but it did go out to bid.
But it didn't have to, did it?
That's correct.
Well, I did some checking to see about waste management versus Allied Waste. Allied Waste is a company that's in Tingsboro, which is now probably called Republic. They were in this city as a service provider through contracts for 21 years. They have 23 people that reside in Lowell that work for this company. And it's troubling to me because there's nothing really that we can do about it, because I thought we would vote to ratify either your contract awarding yes or no. So I was unaware of it until I saw it on the agenda, and I did a little investigating, and I have 8 other colleagues here, and I've been here for so many years, and there were times in the very beginning that I admit that we had problems like we would with the new contract, and over the years it got substantially better, and that the only thing, and I don't hear my colleagues coming forward with any complaints from this company, and you have a right to do whatever you want, but I just want to bring up a few things that is troubling to me, because Allied Waste offered a reduction in the collection price, and they offered huge savings as well on disposal, which Waste Management has. I do know that. Allied offered to convert a manual to an automatic recycling cart collection. They were proactive, looking to maintain a partnership that they had with this city since 1992. I understand that each time that Allied submitted a price, each time Allied was told that they were the lowest price. So it kind of reassured them more or less that they were going to get this contract. The company is in Tingsboro, and Waste Management is in Woburn, Mr. Manager?
I believe they're all large companies that have offices in different locations, yes.
So if I have a problem now, I mean, travel time and, when I call, the proximity for this company being in Lowell, they didn't take much time to get here when I would call and say to Linda Clark in your office, Mrs. So-and-so from such a street didn't get her trash recycling picked up, and she'd place a call and they'd come right down. So the proximity to Lowell and the reaction time to me is something that I would have thought would have been factored into this.
Well, Waste Management will still be responsible for making return visits as needed.
And they're further away. I mean, I was just thinking the proximity. One is 6 miles away, one's 14 miles away, but I don't know, I guess. But Allied offered hazardous waste day subsidies. They offered to expand single-stream recycling program. They offered support to the police initiatives for summer safety in the parks. They offered to assist the rebuilding initiatives at Colley Stadium. They offered free collection of pedestrian litter barrels downtown and at Parks and Recreation. So everything that Waste Management that you say is a key factor Allied Waste has said that they would do the same. They offered a residential shops needle mail-in program, and to me, they have a proven track record. They have offered so much. They offered to staff and provide an expanded drop-off program. So everything you're saying that Waste Management is going to do, so would Allied Waste. On 2 occasions, when the city asked companies to resubmit prices, Allied explained that if the year or the price was important to them, they would be more than happier to rebalance their 5-year price to benefit the 1 year. Everything I'm saying is true. This was necessary. I just feel that if the sole impression on this was that Waste Management's proposal would provide a computerized tracking/data management system tied to the RFID chips, well, Allied had that technology available too, and they would have done the same thing. And as it stands, Allied offered to retrofit the existing carts at no charge with the RFID reader chips as well. They offered this system, yet it now seems that that was a key component, and to choose Waste Management, they would have done the same thing. Now, recycling there's such an added savings by having Waste Management, as you said. Is part of that savings because you'll go bi-weekly to the recycling?
Well, Council, obviously you've done your homework and you've had a lengthy conversation with someone from Republic.
Yes, because I'm trying to protect 23 people that live in the city that pay taxes here. That's why I thought it was important.
Both of them bid on the same, everyone bid on the same things. The reason for going with Waste Management was largely financial. They're about $500,000 less over the 5 years, and they're also providing us with new equipment that I know Allied has indicated to us very recently that they were planning on doing that over the next 2 or 3 years. We'd start seeing some new trucks, but we want the top of the line trucks immediately to be doing this work. They reflect upon the city, and but between the money, the trucks, their customer service system that they have in place, everyone involved felt that Waste Management was the best choice, particularly along the lines of the money.
So wait a minute, we're not saying that Allied Waste doesn't have customer service.
No, they have.
Because I know personally that they've taken out barrels for your customers.
Right, they do.
That can't take it out and have anybody around to do that.
They do provide customer service, but I know that the staff was very impressed with the Waste Management customer service system that they have in place. It's effectively a very large call center that can get through to people, get people's problems handled very quickly and expeditiously. So.
Do you know how many people are hired from Lowell into this?
I don't.
Well, I know that 23 are going to be probably losing their job.
Well, they'll be likely looking for drivers, so they can certainly look to Waste Management as a possibility.
Well, it says in your presentation, not what you showed, but what you provided us, we will have an increase in the city's recycling rate to 35%. Now I'm understanding you mean over the course of 5 years.
Correct.
Just because you project it doesn't mean it's going to be so.
That's correct.
So you can say anything you want, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen. But I just want to say lastly, because Waste Management will provide 15 free Big Belly solar trash compactor units, so would Allied Waste have. I don't think that would have been the, the final straw there that would put you over the top. But you have a right to choose. I have a right to say that I'm not happy about it.
I appreciate that, Councilor. And with regards to 35%, that's not just an arbitrary number. That's numbers that Mr. Wallenstein has developed based upon his research on how single stream affects it. And that would have been 35%, whether it be Allied Waste or Waste Management.
And seeing that big monstrosity of a recycling thing, even though it's got wheels, I don't know how people are going to be happy with the elderly pulling that out to the curb. But again, that's my opinion.
Any further discussion on the report? Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the manager. The existing contract doesn't run out until the end of this calendar year?
Correct.
And so why did you choose to rebid it now? I mean, it's out of character for you, if I might say.
No, not at all.
Compared to the auditorium and some other contracts, to do this one so early, why did you do it so early?
With the trash contracts, you tend to do them earlier so that if there is new equipment being purchased, you can get that equipment ordered. And so that's that was the primary reason. We were also approached by Republic, Allied Waste, as well as a number of other vendors to ask if we'd be interested in sitting down and talking about a new contract. So felt it was the time to go out to bid. But it is generally the equipment, having negotiated and been involved in, at this point, I don't know, 7 or 8 trash contracts in my career. I know that's how that works.
Okay. And is this contract's reflected in the budget for this year?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how many people bid? How many bidders were there?
I believe we had, Gunther, how many? 5? 5 people bid, but it really came down to 2 at the end.
Okay, and so the 2 would be the one that Councilor Mercy was talking about, the incumbent, and then the one that we're going with?
Correct.
And in the communication that you sent to us, you highlighted that the new company will be providing us with, they would sponsor the Winterfest.
Correct.
And sponsor the Lowell Folk Festival, and provide the city with, I think it's 5 $1,000 scholarships. And that just sounds like they're sweetening. I mean, did everybody do that, or was that required in the bid, or how did that come about?
Everyone put in something of some sort or another.
Okay, and did the RFP call for that?
I can't recall that. Gunther, did you recall that?
Many of the vendors came to us almost a year ago and began discussions on how we would see this going forward. And as we got closer, we shaped the benefits of all the 5 companies that led us to automated single stream every other week. And the 4 companies that came back with written bids had written in scholarships and sponsoring events. So they had different packages. So what we're presenting this evening is the final package, the final offers that Waste Management provided.
Okay, maybe this question is better for you. What does it cost the city to dispose of a ton of trash?
Well, the most expensive part is the collection. Fixed by contract is the incineration. Right now, the incineration rate is $72 a ton. And Allied Waste, being the incumbent, is currently collecting and transporting it to Wheelabrator, where the disposal cost is $72. If you were to include the whole contract divided by all of the customers, it's about another $200 worth of hauling, which is the trucks, the employees, the fuel.
So it costs the city $272 roughly a ton?
It's just shy of $300 per household, the actual collection and disposal cost.
So it's more like $220. It's above the $200 then, right?
It's nearing $300 if you include everything that we do curbside.
Okay. And how much does it cost to dispose of a ton of recyclables?
Right now, we pay a flat rate for the collection. It's about $70,000 a month for the trucks to collect, and everything they collect is disposed of for free. So there's 2 sides to recycling. There's the collection and then the disposal. And under our current contract, there's no disposal cost on the recycling. That's the big savings on recycling. If we collect it as trash, it costs $72 a ton. If we collect it as recycling, there's no cost for disposal.
Nope. All right. No cost for anything.
Just the collection.
And how much is that?
That's built into the $280 per household. I can show you an invoice with the monthly fees for collection.
What I'm trying to do is, what I'd like to know is how much it costs to dispose of a ton of trash compared to how much does it cost to dispose of a ton of recyclables. And I guess the difference should show you that it makes a lot of sense to do more recyclables.
Absolutely.
All right, but you don't know how much it costs to
Again, the collection cost is a fixed rate. On top of that, every ton is $72. And we threw away 30,000 tons.
So we don't know, is the
I can do a quick calculation to answer your question.
How are you going to do that?
I can provide that to the manager's office to tell you what the cost of collection is.
I think, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I think, and we'll be happy to do that analysis. I think that will require some sitting down and putting the numbers together. But I think Mr. Wellenstein's point is that for solid waste, we know that we get charged a fixed amount to drive the trucks around, and then we know that for every ton of trash, we pay $72. Now, Allied Waste was willing to try to find, and they found a location years during their proposal that they would be able to reduce the cost by going to alternate locations, and they would obviously have to guarantee that for us. With recycling, it's built into the cost of collections, but we don't pay anything to dispose of the recycling.
Right.
So if you work those numbers out, we'd be able to say a ton of trash. They split out the collection between solid waste and recycling, and then be able to, divide that by the total tonnage we have, and the cost of the disposal. You get a per ton cost. On the recycling, it would just be the portion of the cost of the recycling trucks going around. So clearly, just on virtue of that, it's cheaper to recycle than it is to do solid waste.
Well,
what the actual numbers are, we'll have to work on getting those.
I knew before I asked the question that it was cheaper to recycle. I just think it's worth putting it out there because it's, I think maybe people would be a little bit more responsible about recycling if they realized that it was saving them tax dollars by recycling. So that's it. However, the way it was explained, and since the recycling, picking up the recycling is built into the whole contract, I don't understand how you can accurately glean out or split the difference between the recycling and the trash. But maybe I'm misunderstanding, and maybe you can. And if you can, I think that's information worth knowing. So if we can get something on that next week, and even if we can't do it better than a guesstimate, it would still be worthwhile knowing that. The new contract says, which would start January 1. Correct. That contract indicates that on recyclables, there would be an 80-20 split. We don't have that situation now with the existing contract.
That's correct.
And did the RFP ask for it that way? Did we?
Yes.
It did. So everybody responded with some sort of a split.
Correct.
And was 80-20 the best, or was everybody uniform in that, on that matter?
Councilor, there's another component involved. Right now, all of the haulers who collect the material take it to a processing facility, and that facility charges a per ton processing fee. And so in addition to the split, the 4 bidders that we had, 2 at the very end, provided a per ton processing cost. Let's say right now the commodity market is at $85, and Waste Management is offering a $75, there'd be $10 above the processing fee, and that $10 is split 80-20. One of the other bidders would have put their base price at closer to $80, and we would have only had $5 to split at a different percent, I think 70-30. So there's two pieces moving here. It's the processing charge and then the split.
So the split is only on the net,
Correct.
not on the gross?
And all of the haulers bid it on the net.
Okay. And so do you have any estimate of what that would be? What's that gonna amount to?
If in the first year we increase our recycling rate from the 4,000 tons, and at the current market rate, with the current net, it's going to be about $90,000 of revenue back to the city.
That's our 80% would be about 90,000.
Our 80% after the processing fee.
Okay. And can you tell me, because although Council Mercy was saying that there's no reason to think that the amount of recyclables will go up to 35%, but there must have been some sort of formula or some kind of, you had to use something to estimate that it would go up that high. And I think that in the budget presentation, maybe your goal for the next year was that it would go up to 17%. So going up to 35% over 5 years, I mean, I don't know, but maybe 17% makes sense. But I mean, how did you arrive at that?
Couple of things involved. Primarily, I went to the Mass DEP, and they have regional coordinators, and I sat down with our coordinator, and I asked her what other municipalities have gone to automated, what other municipalities have gone to single stream, what other municipalities have gone to every other week, and based on those components of the project, those who have successful programs after a few years are showing at about 35%. So it's not necessarily where you started, it's based on the package that the residents have to work with.
And have you ever had an opportunity to look at Worcester and how Worcester does this? And they seem to do better than anybody else in the Commonwealth, don't they?
For a couple of reasons. Primarily because they are a straight pay as you throw. So you have to pay cash for your first bag of trash, and right from the first bag of trash, you have an incentive to recycle. Another reason, they're still processing it internally with their DPW, so a lot of the education and outreach is right there on the spot at the point of collection. We're trying to work with our vendors to make sure that improves, and then they also have 2 drop-off yards. So we're hoping that with a new drop-off yard, we'll also climb an additional number of percent.
Where would our drop-off yard be?
We are still working with DPD to identify a property. It's a city-owned property. We're just determining to make sure that it meets our needs. And we'll come to the council when it's time to announce where that is and how it works.
Okay. Okay, I guess that's it. Thanks. That's all I've got.
Council Leahy.
Thank you. I just had a couple of questions, concerns for the manager. So when they say they're gonna pick up the parks barrels, did we determine, that was kind of an issue for me, and I had talked to you about, what's the schedule for that? Because Saturdays and weekends are always the time when they're overflowing. Are they gonna do weekends or just during the week?
Unlikely, it'll just be during the week. But we'll evaluate that as we go through and see if there's a way to modify that. The new solar barrels, those would be put at the, our plan is to put those at the recreation areas because they'd be able to hold more and they'd be able to send alerts of when they need to be emptied.
And is there one for trash and one for recycling?
There would be, yes.
Okay. And then what about yard waste? I didn't see anything about yard waste, so we still do weekly yard waste?
Well, we're looking at making some modifications to that. This contract that you have in front of you now carries forth the yard waste. This doesn't take effect until January 1st. We'll have all of the yard waste for fiscal year 14. For fiscal year 15, we're analyzing that to see if there's additional savings that could be realized by going to a different pickup schedule. We pick up very, very little yard waste during the summer months, but we have to drive the trucks around, so it's a very expensive proposition. That's something we've been looking at.
Okay. What about the schools? How are we gonna get the schools more involved? Are they gonna get 2 or 3 of those barrels and really recycle everything?
Counselor, the nice thing about going to single stream is that the schools won't be required to break down their cardboard and collect it in one container, bottles and cans in another container, and mixed paper. We're going to provide them dumpsters at all schools and all single stream. So we'll continue for those schools we're making it work with carts. They'll get larger carts. They'll go curbside every week. And for those that have a little bit more property and have space for a dumpster, that dumpster will become a single stream dumpster. So the contractor has offered quite a bit of flexibility and collection and larger containers to make that work.
All right, because the schools probably.
They'll stay on a every week
But
schedule.
what's their recycling now? It's probably very poor.
Actually, no. I do have data. I didn't bring it with me. I had a high school intern that was collecting that through this current school year. So at the end of the school year, we'll be able to provide you exactly what they've been putting out. Unfortunately, it's collected by the neighborhood truck, and then it gets put into the citywide data. But I can tell you by containers and by volume what each school has been contributing on a weekly basis.
Okay. What about the downtown area? So they're going to do the barrels downtown too?
That's correct.
All right, and that's always been on a time schedule, right? Which,
And we'll be
Gotta
working with
get
them
in
to
a
do
lot
that
earlier?
in the day, right.
okay, and, okay, and then Councilor Kennedy asked about the spot, we're not sure where we're gonna have the recycling yet?
Correct, the drop-off.
Drop-off, okay. Does that include, I took it that the 80% shared revenue is just on the tires, yard waste, propane tanks, and stuff like that?
Counselor, the revenue share is just on the single stream material. So the additional containers, some that we have at DPW would go to the drop-off yard, and then residents could bring in on a fee schedule the tires, which we currently only collect at hazardous waste day. So to answer your question, the revenue is just on the recyclables, not necessarily all the other material that comes to the drop-off yard. We'll be accepting medical sharps, and we'll be accepting vegetable oil, but those things, even if we sold them to market, wouldn't be included in the revenue split after
But
net.
do we have to pay for that? It looks like it's free. We're dropping it off for free.
That's correct. The contractor has agreed to every other week for 6 hours to staff a drop-off yard. Many items will be on the fee schedule. It's the same fee schedule that we're currently paying curbside, and they'll offer that as a drop-off option.
All right, so you're confused. So we're paying to drop this off?
Residents have drop-off options.
Okay,
If you have
I don't mean to be short. If I drop off tires, I'm paying to drop them off.
just as we do in the current fee
Well, it
schedule.
doesn't say that here, though. So that's why I was wondering. Okay, and
Well,
then...
I'll make sure that's part of our education.
All right, because it looks like you can just go there twice a month and drop everything off for free.
There will be many free items, but some items off of the current fee schedule.
Okay, all right. All right. I was just a little, I mean, it's a great contract, I guess. It just seems funny to me that they're giving back 80% of the profit on these items and picking up the park sparrows for free and the school scholarships, but I guess, and then they're giving us back $170,000 a year. Is that kind of the new way? I mean, it's.
No, that's, it's
I ran my
actually,
business, I go out of business.
yeah, it's well, we spend a lot of money bringing stuff to Willebrator. And that's we actually have apportioned that a little bit differently. We haven't divided it up equally. We've used the money to hold the cost steady for the 5 years at roughly $5.1 million. It goes up a little, it drops a little, but it's about $5.1 million.
Okay, all right, and I guess I just have to ask one other question. Someone had asked, this, obviously, this was the best price for 5 years.
Correct.
But someone had put a bug in our ears that the other contract had a better 5-year deal as far as this new contract saves us money in the first year, and then the other contract saved us money in the long run. Is there any truth to that, or?
This one, over the 5 years, saves us about $500,000 more than the other.
Okay.
Bid.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Johnson, then Councilor Laurie, and then Councilor Mercia.
Yes, I'm just thinking about the implementation of this new contract. You said it goes into effect in a new calendar year.
Correct.
So my question would be regarding the implementation. When could the residents expect to receive new barrels, and when will they be told and how? Is their pickup schedule? I mean, every week is easy to remember. You got a certain day of the week. Every other week may be a little bit more complicated.
Right. Well, it is, biweekly is the more traditional by community, out there in communities. But the implementation, that's another reason we wanted to get this moving as quickly, so that we weren't, that was one of the issues that we had when we went to the barrels, the maroon barrels that we've been using, is we wanted enough time to educate people as to the system. So this will give us a full 6 months to lay that out, educate people. The city will be divided up into 2 zones. Some will be picked up on one week, some will be picked up on another week. They'll be given advice on how to know how to do that, and that will all be played out by Mr. Wellenstein's office over the course of the next several months.
Okay. And another question I have is, right now, the recycling is unlimited. I mean, as many containers as we can put out, they'll collect, which is better than putting it in our regular waste stream. With the new barrels, is there going to be an option for excess, which would be a good problem to have, given the size of the barrels, but there's not a problem we're going to have that soon. But still, if somebody, to the benefit of the city, I think, can fill up that barrel and has excess over the course of 2 weeks, is there going to be an option for overflow?
Yes, there will be.
There will be, is it
Whether
like a
it will
bag
be-
system or additional containers?
Probably another container, so it can move a little bit faster to deposit it.
Okay, there's, is that, I assume it's going to be more of a solid container, not a plastic bag. I'm just thinking ahead,
For the
is it-
excess?
yeah, the excess, will it be like the current purple bags, or will it be more like having another permanent container?
I would just, envision another permanent container, not a bag.
All right, well, thank you.
Council Lori?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had a couple of questions. You don't need the council's ratification for this contract.
That's
Now,
correct.
what was the bidding like? Usually, you have closed bids. Were these closed bids, or were these negotiations ongoing with different companies?
They began as closed bids, and then there were presentations made, and some back and forth negotiations. We had each one of the companies come in and speak to us, and then Mr. Wellenstein and Mr. Snow would be back in touch with them to talk to them, ask them questions, and give them the opportunity to fine-tune their numbers.
So they knew what the other bids were?
They didn't know what the other bids were.
Or they didn't know what the other bids were, so they had no chance to match them. And the only reason why I ask
Went
is...
back and forth several times, I will say that. It was
But
constantly...
they had no
see if
chance to match them?
They weren't, no, we didn't say, can you match this? No.
Okay. And one of the reasons why I ask is, right now, we're picking up recyclables once a week. We're gonna go to twice a week. The present company
Twice.
also picks up yard waste right now, and that's not part of this. So that could be an extra cost to the city down the
No,
line.
the yard waste is included in this price as well.
It is?
Yes.
You know, I look up there and it says the city's gonna save $5 million over 5 years. And then I read this letter, it says the city will save 2.8 over the life of the contract.
Right, that calculation, I think I mentioned that in the presentation. If you just look at the chart that we have here, you can see where the $1 million comes from. These are the current solid waste, and this isn't I will tell you, this is not the Allied or Republic. I just got used to calling them Allied as opposed to BFI, but they currently are at 6.182. Their bid was less than that. But the waste management company was even lower at 5.131 when we calculated it out. So you can see it's roughly $1 million a year. The 2.8 number is a calculation based off of these other 5 years average for actual costs, as opposed to the current cost So what we're trying to show is the savings coming to the city off the current cost with this contract over the 5 years. The 2.8 is based on an average with these other calculations over the last 5 years versus the upcoming 5 years.
$5 million is substantial savings, obviously, to the taxpayers of the city. Under the old contract, wasn't there an agreement on size of the barrels, or were we going to look at that? If it was one individual living in a home, they wouldn't need such a big barrel. And we had talked at one time about looking at a program where a one or two family person might get one size, and of course a family of 5. Did we do that?
We looked at it. That really didn't have anything to do with the contract. It had more to do with our own efforts to try to reduce the amount of solid waste that people generate. If they saw, it's similar, it's an adaptation of the Worcester program, if you will, that if people said, well, it's costing me this much for the 64-gallon container, I could save $50 a year or $75 a year by going to a smaller container, I'll do that. And by doing that, it sort of encourages people then to recycle more so they don't fill up that container. We looked at doing that. I think I noted when we had some of those discussions that if I had to do it over again, I would recommend that we go with the smaller containers to start with to push people to recycling. Because our recycling, the 64-gallon barrel is still somewhat large, larger than most, the many communities utilize.
That's the basis of my question. If we had gone to 3 different barrels, the $5 million is a substantial savings for the taxpayer. But if they went to a smaller barrel and wanted to manage those savings themselves over the same time period, it may balance out. I compliment Councilor Mercia. You know, I had no idea there was 23 employees, and when we came up with the parking agreement, I had noted that there were people from Lowell living here, and I woke up Sunday morning to get beat up in the column for bringing up the employees. And I think we had talked about it a little bit with the auditorium too, and I didn't know there was that many people. When we enter into negotiations...
If I may, Counselor, I don't have the numbers on Waste Management. Waste Management does collections all around the Lowell area.
They may also...
Lowell area. They possibly have 23 or more employees that live in the city of Lowell. We can certainly check on that.
Yeah, no, the reason why I say when we go out to bid, and I don't think it's a common practice, and I don't know if it's legal, how many of those people live in the city that we're talking to these contractors? You know, I hate driving around the area and see these big developments going on and see New Hampshire plates. I know they're not living in the city. And I know $5 million is substantial savings, but I'm wondering down the line, how many people who live in Lowell who make their living off these contracts become part of the negotiations, or at least part of the question in the negotiations? You know, I don't know of anyone who does that now, and I don't know if it's appropriate or legal. It could be illegal, but I think it's a question as we go down further.
Well, it's again, and we've had these discussions, I know, in the council chamber before in different locations, that there are 20, apparently, I wasn't aware of that, but there are apparently 23 people that work for Allied or Republic that live here in the city of Lowell. As I said, I don't know how many that work for Waste Management live in the city, because we didn't ask for that information. The $5 million gets spread amongst the population as a whole. And again, I want to stress, the $5 million is off the current rates. It's not off of the Allied bid. The Allied bid was $500,000 more expensive. But the benefit of the $500,000 or the $5 million goes to all of the citizens of the city.
Absolutely, no, there's no question.
The jobs obviously go only to those people who have those jobs, and so it's who you're.
No, you're hoping.
Yeah, and as I said, there's going to be openings likely at Waste Management as a result of this contract.
I was just going to say that with this new 5-year contract, they're probably going to be looking for employees, and these employees know the routes, they know the streets, and I'm sure they'd be highly valuable. But I didn't know if that was something we could look at down the line, if it's appropriate or not. But, you know, the 5 million's important, but what do the workers of the city get also? I think that was the only questions I had, and thank you very much.
Councilor Mercia, then Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager. We talk about at great lengths, especially in your delivery and your goal, which was providing services to the community. And when I look at this proposal here and I see that diverting new waste streams, anybody can save money if we don't pick up your yard waste, and now you have to bring it somewhere to a drop-off. And if anybody is like me in the fall time, I have 5 barrels. See, I'm a little bit cheap. I don't buy these bags. I have 5 barrels that I saved from when we used our own barrels to put out our trash. So I don't want to get rid of them. I'm using them to recycle and put my yard waste in it. Now, in the fall, I have 5 barrels of leaves. What do? Do I put it, I have a truck, so I could easily put these barrels in a truck and bring them to a recycling yard waste drop-off. What does the public do with this that does not have a truck? And they, you know, they don't have a neighbor that, what do they, put it in their car, or how do they get it down there?
Well, again, for the fall and spring yard waste, there will still be a pickup. What we're considering is what to do about the summer yard waste. When, again, we have, the only thing that people are putting out are very small bags of grass clippings that arguably should be staying on the lawn to start with. But if they do put them out, or if they do have them, we're making a location available for them. That they could, that's not 5 barrels, that's a yard, but again, that's something we're assessing. We haven't made a final decision on that.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I have, let's say, 10 bushes and 3 regular-sized trees that are weeping, and I don't like them to weep, so I cut them. So I have another 5 barrels in the summer because I trim my hedges and the bushes and the trees, and I don't think that I want to leave them standing in my yard. I have to get that out of there. So I don't know, in the summer now, I'm going to have to put them in the truck and...
Well, again, we haven't, this year, and, this year, there's not going to be any change for the yard waste.
Thinking of the future.
We're looking at the future.
Right, and I don't like this component of it. I really don't. Okay. That's my opinion, and I'm vocally saying that. I do not like what I see here, and if you talk to the public, I don't think they're going to like it either. But that's just my opinion.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have 3 follow-ups. In your communication to us, you said that when the contract signed, there'd be an $850,000 rebate. Is it? Why is that? Why do you highlight that? Why isn't that just built into the bid?
Well, it was the way the bid was structured. It's to, there's a separate bid for the, there's a separate contract for the tipping fee. And so that comes off that tipping fee. And it's, they gave us a choice of how we wanted to use it. It effectively reduces the yearly cost by $170,000, but it's, we're going to accelerate that, actually, and use more of it up front to smooth that. But it comes off of a different contract. Similar to the way that Republic came up with the lower tipping fee. They would have done that not off their trash contract, but off of a separate contract for the disposal.
Okay, so what you're saying is the $850,000, which would be over the 5-year life of the contract, you're looking to by accelerate that, you mean get more of it up front?
Correct.
Instead of just having it be even 170,000 a year over the
Correct.
course of the 5 years?
Correct.
And how do you do that? I mean, has this contract already been negotiated and it's,
They've given us a choice on how we want to do it when we execute the contract.
okay. And the recyclables will be picked up every 2 weeks, so 26 times a year rather than 52,
Correct.
roughly. And so were the
And that
other-
was the same for all of the haulers. They all priced that same way. It's not that this one's cheaper because they're doing it that way. All the haulers were doing it the same.
Okay. Could we get a report on the major components of each contract so that we can see why this one is the best one? I mean, I think that this is a good contract, and I even like, on Friday, I didn't like the idea of recycling every 2 weeks, but I kind of like the size of the container that we'll be using, so, maybe that ends up being a better way to go. But I think it would be helpful to the members of the city council, but also to everybody, if they could just see what the major components are and why this contract's better than the others.
Okay, let me see what I can do to put something like that together. I just want to go over some of any legal issues that might be out there. I don't see any, but let me see what I can do.
Right. I mean, the reason I ask, I think it's just good for transparency, but other than that, there's stuff like the rebate and the 15 free big belly trash compactor units, and there's other stuff that seems to be, that provides little curveballs, and so it'd just be good to see it on paper and see a comparison between all of them. Maybe they're all like that, and maybe everybody was given a huge rebate and 15 big belly containers or whatever, but it would be good to get that. Thanks.
Council Leahy?
Thank you. Just one quick follow-up. I forgot to ask about downtown. Are we gonna could you expand on how we're gonna get recycling more involved for the people that live downtown, and what's gonna be the benefit for them?
Gunther?
Councilor, two options for our downtown neighbors. The primary one is the drop-off center. Right now, we have a successful drop-off container at the Department of Public Works. We're doing about 2.5 tons twice a month. So we are finding that those that don't currently have access or are not eligible to city collection will come and avail themselves of a drop-off center. So we're hoping that a drop-off center that's advertised and open twice a month with more outreach and education, that will be an option for the downtown or non-eligible. The other option is I'm working with the waste hauler to coordinate an opt-in service. There are communities where a mixed-use facility, let's say a family insurance agency, they can purchase and pay a monthly fee to participate in recycling. So they would get a 96-gallon cart, and they would have, pay it quarterly or pay it monthly, and be able to set out recycling on the neighborhood's red or blue week. So that's an option so those two options should solve a lot of problems. But there's, almost an impossible task for us to say, not by example, let's say Canal Place 2. How are we going to provide recycling for those customers that aren't part of our current system? So drop-off is probably the best way per household to manage that.
Is there any way we could get someone, I don't know if you've already looked into it, could we get someone downtown to maybe host a container where a lot of people who just kind of want to stay in the downtown and walk around can bring their
I believe the city manager had brought that to the Solid Waste and Recycling Advisory Committee. The chair of the advisory committee is a downtown resident, and we talked about, would it be a roll-off, would it be a trailer, how does it get emptied, what's the frequency, and our experience for about 8 months now is that the drop-off container at DPW is in a parking lot where the night watchman it's in a lit portion of the parking lot, so we can monitor it. We're afraid that if we put a container somewhere where it's not under our watchful eye, that we might start seeing non-recyclables show up in it. So that was one of the primary considerations for a drop-off, is that it's got to be somewhere behind a gate, have certain hours, be lighted, and have either a staff or an attendant or a night watchman at DPW.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Mendoza?
Accept communication, place on file.
Motion to accept the communication placed on file. Seconded by Council Lori. Council Elliott?
Thank you. So under the statute, Mr. Manager, you do not have to bid this, right? And also, anything over 5 year, a 5-year contract, has to typically come before the council. Is this exempt from that?
Under 30B, solid waste does not have to be bid. However, I want to stress that we did bid this. It was a very extensive bidding process. Under 30B, anything over 3 years requires a legislative approval, but this is not covered by 30B, so it does not need legislative approval.
Got it. So what exactly did you bid? The tipping fee, the disposal costs?
We bid the trash hauling, the pickup, and collection, and disposal, but not the tipping fee. Although, as I indicated before, Allied provided us with a proposal that modified the tipping fee for us once our contract expires at Wheelabrator. Likewise, Wheelabrator made us a proposal that, Waste Management made us a proposal that gave us a rebate off of our Wheelabrator cost of that $850,000.
Can you explain why that's kind of a moving target? Why wouldn't it just be a set fee, this rebate? I don't understand it.
Well, it can be. It can be. We can take it all at once. Basically, it's a rebate that they're giving us, representing the 5 years that we would be contracting with them, with Wheelabrator / Waste Management, and they gave us a choice of how we want to use that. We could take it all up front, but then we'd see a spike in year 2. We could spread it out over the 5 years, but then we would see those costs escalate more over the 5 years, and it was our intention to level them off at roughly $5.1 million for the 5 years.
Why wouldn't that just be in the contract that they are, or wouldn't it just be a less tipping fee? Why wouldn't it just say this is what the tipping fee is per ton? Because that's typically how it's been, hasn't it?
Well, that's a good question. This is from a business. It's not our choice. It's how they would do it. It's from a accounting or business cost standpoint of how they cost out their operations. If it didn't really, from my perspective, it doesn't really matter how they do it as long as we got the money.
So what exactly did you negotiate? Because the disposal cost is got to be a set fee, correct?
Well,
our disposal, the cost of disposing per ton to a facility is a set fee.
That's a set fee per ton, correct. And so that was included with Wheelabrator and Allied because they made proposals. And I'm trying to recall whether anyone else made any proposals along those lines. But Wheelabrator and Allied, Waste Management and Allied, we bring our trash to Wheelabrator, the Wheelabrator Corporation, but Waste Management and Allied included it as part of their package. And so that's how that got into the mix. But otherwise, we would have had to go back out to bid in the future for the disposal contract. But that wasn't so much negotiated as just the prices that we received.
Oops. So my other question was the fee ordinance. You're going to require a council vote when this is incorporated into the fee ordinance. What does that mean? That rates are going up?
No, it's not in the fee ordinance. It's in the solid waste ordinance.
Right. So the fee is not going to go up?
There's no plans for, no, there's really no need for the fee to go up
Okay,
because,
so-
in fact, costs are going down, so we'll be able to maintain those. Right now, as Mr. Wendelstein was describing, the average household costs us about $280, $300 a year, and we bill out at
$125 per house.
$125.
Right.
So that delta diminishes with this contract. Not substantially, but it diminishes.
So we're changing, and I understand Council Mercer's point. You know, there's 23 jobs, and maybe it may seem like a small number. That's still 23 jobs in the city. And I appreciate the bid. You go out to bid, but you narrowed it down to 2, or was narrowed down to 2 based upon the criteria. Did Ally not want to negotiate, or?
Yeah, we went through several versions of the bidding process to try to help drive our costs down. Our goal was to drive the cost for the city down.
Right. And
Plain
again,
and
my
simple.
question, what was it that you negotiated? Just the fee?
Well, we really didn't negotiate anything. We just kept on saying, you know, sharpen your pencil, get us a price. It wasn't a case where we sat down and said, well, can you make this one less and this one more? And this was just, get us a price. Get us a
Right.
package price.
So then Allied, they were interested in whatever, the barrels and I mean, they came back with all of these other
They all-
things as well? They all did?
They all did, and in our discussions, I guess the only negotiation that really took place is in our discussions with the companies, and we would, we would say to them, well, what can you do on, this category? Can you, what if we, modified how we pick up the park barrels, and what if you could do that? And then they come back to us with a price. Let me say that I've dealt with both Allied and Waste Management through the years, and I've gone back and forth with both companies. They're both good companies, but it's a case here where we made a decision based on the numbers, based on the equipment, and that was how we looked, just looking out for the taxpayers.
So the $500,000, what makes up that delta between Allied and Waste Management? What's the $500 million?
Well, it's on the total. I don't have that right in front of me, and I think that's probably would get at what Councilor Kennedy has asked for, that it's a combination of what each one is charging for collection, each one is charging for disposal, each one is charging for park barrel pickup, what each one is charging. It sort of runs the gamut of all of those things.
Well, I know, that's good. Look, if $500,000 is a good thing, we just want to know where the savings are and what contributed to those savings. That being said, I have to say, when the council brought in the recommendation to go to this new system, we all went down to Worcester, and we looked at Worcester's operation, and that was a good starting point. We went to some other communities as well. And it was a big leap forward, and some were very happy, and there were people that were, somewhat unhappy because it was change. But it was good change. To this day, I still think it's a good change. I have to say, I am concerned about going to every other week with recycling for a couple of reasons. I think habit is a good thing to get people and have people in the same habit. Just even myself, okay? Recycling's got to go out, so does the trash. I'm concerned that interruption will have an effect on people recycling. Secondly, I just know for myself, sometimes having recyclables around for a week, I am glad to get rid of them because, you try to wash them out, but there's still food waste in it. And I think that's a consideration that we need to keep in mind, because having containers around for 2 weeks, I know it's not going to pose the greatest health risk, but, it is I think it should be a concern. And again, just for me, every week, stay in the routine and just keep people recycling. Every other week, I'm concerned. So I was going to ask Gunther, what communities what communities did you look at that went to every other week recycling? Any major cities doing every other week
I can't
recycling?
recall, but I'll make sure that's part of our report. I can say that we asked both vendors towards the end to provide a cost for collection of 26 weeks of recycling and 52 weeks of recycling. And basically it comes down to $800,000 per 26 weeks. So there's a large savings by going to every other week. It's about $800,000 to provide half the number of stops.
So that's essentially where the savings is. It's not so much, I mean, if we're getting less service, essentially, because you're not going to send barrels every week. Right. Is that what you're saying? It's an $800,000 cost to
For
pick
every
up?
26 weeks of collection, it's about $800,000.
Okay. I understand. That makes sense. And what is that based on? Is it
Both vendors-
gasoline? Is it
Absolutely. It's labor, equipment, fuel costs. We pay about $10,000 per month on diesel to support the collection cost. So by going to 26 weeks of collection, there's a large savings. And the way that we foresee this happening is, just for example, in the Thursday collection route, one main street down the middle, left side would be a red week, right side would be the blue week, and there would be postings and messages, and the website would be turned on and off depending on the side of the route that you're on.
Let me just say, when there was an interruption in service, I believe it was one of the holidays, people were very upset, and understandably so. I just think every other week, I'm just nervous that interruption and the weekly recycling of people recycling weekly is not going to produce the results that we're looking for. I personally just think you got to keep doing it and be vigilant and have a constant reminder. In 2 weeks could just be a little bit too long of a...
Councillor, one of the things that we took into consideration was the incremental costs on the container. One of the first iterations of the proposal was to give everybody a container of the same size, a 64, so that you'd have the same size trash and same size recycling. But the cost on a 64 gallon is about $55, and you only add $10 to get to the larger size container. So the incremental cost in going to 96 and only providing 26 weeks collection was a big factor.
I mean, I like the barrels. I think it's a good idea to go to automated and in single stream. I think we're making it easy, and we're giving them big barrels. That's the incentive. What if it doesn't work out? What if we don't see the numbers initially from people recycling? Then we have to revert back and go every week, and then there's going to be a cost to that. So the savings, if it doesn't work out, kind of goes out the window because we have to go back to picking up recycling every week.
Right. Well, and if I may, Councilor, I think that's a very valid point. If that's the reason recycling hasn't gone up, that it's gone to that. I will say that we have weekly recycling, and we have one of the lowest recycling rates in the state. And if but you look at a number of the biweekly, they have higher rates. So I'm not sure there's necessarily a connection there. We can stay with, as I think Gunther has just pointed out, we could stay with, you're right, if we have to go back, then there will be a cost. At the same time, if you want to do it now, if you want to stay with the service as provided, we could do that, but it will cost the city approximately $800,000 more that we would have to add. And that certainly can be accommodated by increasing the solid waste budget and moving away from the zero tax increase.
No, I don't want to go back by any stretch. I want the system to work. I just have to say, I'm concerned that every other week is too long of a time frame for people to be vigilant. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to do it. One of the reasons I like the barrels is because my recycling bin is way over there's not enough room for it, and we did discuss that initially, that at some point in time, we want, the solid waste bins to be,
Bigger.
not used as much, and we need bigger, because we want people to put more in. So, that's just my concern. Can I also ask Gunther or you, Mr. Manager, what is our solid waste tonnage, or what has been the trend since we started with this new system?
Back in 2006, we were disposing of 45,000 tons. When we began the automated collection, that was dropped to about 35,000 tons. And now, since 2009, closing 2012, we disposed of 28,500.
So we're reducing our solid waste that has to be disposed of, and our recycling numbers are
We went from about 7.5% to about 13%.
are up a little bit, albeit marginal.
Correct.
Where's the rest of the trash going?
We were rather surprised to find that when we implemented the cart system, that we didn't reduce 10,000 tons in trash and gain 10,000 tons in recycling. A lot of going to the automated assigned cart is that we've identified our customers. We identified the 24,500 eligible stops. Prior to that, the waste haulers were collecting everything that was curbside. So that was the biggest thing.
Illegal dumping.
Not necessarily illegal dumping, but you might call it improper disposal. Business that knew what trash day it was and put their stuff out, or apartment buildings put their stuff out. And the waste hauler was excellent at cleaning up the streets on trash day, but by issuing people a cart, we've identified eligible customers.
Increase in dumpsters as well?
Nope. We did find people who were using the city system that weren't eligible called us and said, hey, where's my cart? And we went through the ordinance and explained to them that based on the criteria that was established in Chapter 270, that they weren't eligible, and they switched to private collection, either blue carts or green carts or dumpsters.
Okay. I just have one more thing, and Councilor Leahy, I think, spoke of it. This, the drop-off center, they're going to staff it, but people still have to pay for it. It's not like they can come and just drop
Basically,
stuff off.
what we've found is that the current system for bulky items is that you would call customer service and pay MasterCard, Visa, or debit card for a curbside appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Many people who don't have MasterCard, Visa, or debit can't find a service that way. So now a drop-off yard, you can actually bring the item and pay cash.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for answering the question. I will also look forward to that report to see, to look at those comparative costs, especially on that rebate, cash rebate. So, thank you.
Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, the current contractual arrangement, do we pay contract direct with Wheeler Brader or whoever for the tipping fee, or does that go through the hauler?
That goes directly through Wheeler Brader.
All right, and so under this now, essentially the hauler is guaranteeing the tipping fee, right? It was part of their pricing that the tipping fee is in their price.
Mr. Wellenstein?
Councilor, we're still under contract to Wheeler Brader, which is a waste management subsidiary. We're still under contract for an additional 2.5 years, and their fixed per ton rate is 72 this year, 74 next year, 76. That's the contractual rate increase. After that contract ends, both collectors came to us and said, it's a 5-year collection contract. After your disposal contract ends, we're going to offer this price. So Waste Management came to us 2.5 years from now, set a new price, and Republic came to us and said, once your disposal contract ends, we'll provide the following price. So we did take that into consideration. The rebate that the manager is talking about is because we have a contracted obligation to $72, $74, and $76 a ton, we would have to rewrite our contract with them to improve our rates starting January 1st. Actually, when the contract begins January 1st. Instead of rewriting the contract, they're providing a rebate for the difference between $72, what we're paying now, and $68, which they would be offering. So that's where the rebate is.
Right. And are they able to offer that lower rate is because they're bigger players in the industry and they can negotiate better with the disposer than we could?
Well, Wheelabrator owns.
Okay.
Waste Management owns Wheelabrator. So that's how they
Okay.
do. And Allied could give a better price because they're a bigger player and they can get larger contracts, and that's how they were able to drive down some of their disposal costs for years 3 and 4, 3, 4, 5.
So both of them were able to offer something.
Right.
Something better. And then the last discussion we had about, going to the every other week saves roughly $800,000, but that's the same with each bidder, right? I mean, it's correct. My cost might be different somewhat, but they're both going to have that extra cost.
That's correct.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Council Lower and then Council Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just sitting here listening to the discussion go back and forth, and I do look forward to that report that Councilor Kennedy asked for. But earlier in the evening, we were here with the manager, and we talked about savings in health insurance, savings in electricity cost, and I think for the average taxpayer, they're going to look at a $5 million savings. Over the next 5 years, we're not keeping up with the rate of inflation. We're actually decreasing the cost to the average taxpayer. And I think when you look at it as a whole, the average person, that's what they want, is the services. I haven't been involved, like many of the people here. I know we've had committees over the years on waste and recycling, and I think many of the things we're talking about tonight were talked about then. 2 weeks on recyclables, 2 weeks on grass and clippings, and it just seems now they're coming to fruition. But a $5 million savings over 5 years, and I think basically, regardless of my feelings, the taxpayers that's what they're going to be happy with. So I'm just going to give kudos to the administration and take it from there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Council Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to, maybe you could clarify a couple of things. I don't know who that would be, but I thought in the discussion, when we're talking about 26 weeks, when we're talking about picking up the recyclables every 2 weeks, that's what, the trucks would be on the road 26 times a year, or is it, I thought there was maybe it was mentioned that you'd be on one side of the street 1 week and the other side of the street, I mean, it's...
Correct. Rather than have 6 trucks do the whole city, Monday route, Tuesday route, what they would do is offer 3 trucks and do one side of the city automated in the red week, and then the following week, the other side of the Thursday route with the same 3 trucks. So every day of the week, we will have recycling in the city. Thursday would alternate. This Thursday, it would be half of the red side. Next Thursday, it would be the blue side. So we're not skipping. It's not like 1 week there's no recycling at all. We're just doing half 1 week and half the following week.
And so would I be able to just wheel my recycling bin across the street?
Well, right now, the ordinance is written that any type of material shall be placed in front of your dwelling, and we wouldn't want people to be going down the street or across the town or even across the street. So they will get service, and the 96 gallons should be absolutely plenty volume for waiting a week.
But if I missed my week or I was on vacation?
So right now we have an app. You can go to the eGov, and it goes right to the route supervisor, and they'll back around, and if it gets missed, we'll make our best effort to get it picked up.
Well, that's more complicated for me than just wheeling it across the street, though, right? I mean...
We have people that are doing that currently, and I'll also let you know that we're issuing warnings for putting trash and recycling out on other routes.
Okay. And you also mentioned a little bit earlier about how much it was costing for diesel. Is the contract such that the city pays for the fuel?
Well, what happens is that all of the haulers have this down to a science, so if they know how many stops per day, they know how many gallons of diesel to set aside in their contract. So it's built in that we're doing about 10,000 gallons a month. And if we go over that, then there's a surcharge. If the price goes over a baseline, there's a surcharge. So in this new contract, we actually increased the gallons per month, and the price per gallon went up.
So if the price of diesel goes up,
It would have to go over $4 before we start to see a fuel surcharge.
okay, or if the trucks became inefficient and they were just using more, the city pays for that, right? So there's a base of how much is covered under the contract.
Correct.
For that. Is there anything else besides the diesel that's like that?
Not that I know of.
Okay, all right.
Any further discussion? We did have a motion, I think, a couple hours ago. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Being after 7 o'clock, we have general public hearings. The first public hearing is for the loan order of $13,610,000 for capital improvements. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Noon. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Reading by title. In City Council, loan order capital improvement bonds to borrow $13,610,000 for the purpose of financing various capital improvements and any related architectural and engineering services in connection therewith and any costs incidental and related thereto. At this time, I'd open up for those wishing to speak in favor. In favor? In favor? Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd open it up for those wishing to speak in opposition. In opposition? In opposition, seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Noon. Councilor Mendonça?
Well, yeah, I would support this, again, because of the larger number of improvements that are going to be made to the schools, and also significant improvements made to traffic patterns and signalization throughout the city. So a lot of infrastructure improvements going to be done, and they're going to be seen by a lot of our residents and certainly beneficial to the city. And we certainly need to do this, especially given that we've been told that the debt service on this will just replace debt that's matured and we no longer have. So it won't put pressure on increasing tax rates at all. And that way it remains affordable. And I believe Councilor Laurie asked when we had the auditor here, what was the good level to have of debt in order to show that the city was maintaining itself. And it's somewhere between 5 and 10%, and this just keeps us in that area. So I'm supportive. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Laurie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'd like to thank Councilor Mendonça. I was just going to say that. We had the CPA here a couple of weeks ago, and we are paying down the debt. I did ask him what was an appropriate level, and we were starting to fall below that. And he said if you don't keep it at a certain point, you're really not doing your jobs. You're letting the streets go, the sidewalks, the buildings. So I support this. And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Elliott?
Thank you, Mr. Moses. How much debt are we, this loan order will go online in 2015? I'm presuming.
Yeah, it will, we'll begin to pay principal in 2015. We'll borrow a little bit immediately, and we'll borrow it as we need it, but we won't bond it permanently and make a payment before 2015.
Right. What is the ban, or what is the short-term interest? Is that factored into the budget as well?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What is the principal and interest for this loan order? Is it 20 years?
No, this is actually a combination of 5, 10, 15, and 20-year interest amortizations. And I believe I answered that question a couple of weeks ago, and it was about $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what debt is retiring next year? Or, well,
Well, we're paying off about $10 million of principal during 2014. It's in your budget.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I see 2015, I see $1 million.
No, that's the principal pay down in 2014. We pay a little bit of principal each year.
Right.
The debt may be retired in 2015, 2020, 2025, but we're still paying principal on it every year.
Okay. So I'm just looking at some of those loan orders that mature.
Okay.
And there'll be nothing left. So 2014, I see some small parts, school refunding. 2015, there's a $9 million balance, and it says that it's going to mature. I'm looking on page 238, Mr. Moses.
Okay.
Is that right? I mean, I see the principal and interest is about, 3.2.
Which line are you looking at?
I'm sorry, just the 1, 2, it's the second school refunding item?
Yeah, absolutely. If you notice, we're paying $3 million off this year.
Right.
And that was issued as level debt, so not level principal. So that principal payment goes up each year more like a mortgage does. And December 15th, 2015 is fiscal year 2016. So there's actually 3 years of principal payment.
So there's significant debt being retired between, not only some that are maturing, but also debt goes down on all of these on an annual basis. So thank you for answering those questions. It makes sense. And there are some much needed infrastructure improvements in this loan order. And we have to continue to make some improvements in these areas, so I'm going to support it.
Throw it over the...
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Noon.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Mendonça.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
It's 9 yeas.
Next, we have utility public hearings. National Grid, Mr. Manager.
I'll wait till after the public hearing. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Utility public hearings, National Grid replace underground electric duct bank in the sidewalk on Frida Lane. Motion to waive the full reading by Council Noon, seconded by Council Martin. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. National Grid replace underground electric duct bank in sidewalk on Frida Lane. I'd open it up for those wishing to speak in favor. In favor? In favor. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd open it up for those wishing to speak in opposition. In opposition? In opposition. Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Entertain a motion to refer to the wire inspector for report and recommendation. So moved by Council Laurie, seconded by Council Mendonça. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Mr. Manager?
I think actually, Mr. Mayor, it's already coming up on the next portion of the agenda of the appointments. We have a couple of people that are being appointed to positions that are here tonight. So but I think just going through the items 6 through 9 would satisfy that.
Thank you. First, we have a communication, accept the resignation of Seon Sun from the library trustees. Entertain a motion to accept and place on file. So moved by Council Mendonça, second by Council Laurie. Thank you to Seon. Next, we have a communication, appoint Thomas Kotarakos to the library trustees.
Approve.
Move to approve by Council Laurie, second by Council Leahy. Roll call, please.
Counselor Nguyen.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Mendonça.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
That's 9 yeas.
Next, we have a communication to appoint
That gentleman is here, Mr. Mayor.
Council Mercia.
Is that you? Want to come up there so we can see you? There you go. We're proud of you. Just tell us who you are.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Tom Kotarakis, I've been a lifelong Lowell resident. I had a meeting with City Manager Lynch a couple weeks back. I guess expressed my interest in helping out whatever way I can. As I said, been interested in helping out with the city for a long time. Finally getting around to having some of the time, so I appreciate the opportunity and I look forward to it.
I think Tom's going to be an excellent member of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you for being willing to serve. Next, we have communication to appoint Caitlin Bedrin to the Conservation Commission.
Move to accept it.
Move to approve.
Yes.
Move to accept and place on file by Council Noon, seconded by Council Mendonça. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, with communication, appoint Renee Ast to the Animal Advisory Committee.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Council Laurie, seconded by Council Mercia. Roll call, please.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Counsel Mendonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
That's 9 yeas.
And Renee came forward for that very
Okay.
difficult position of the non-dog owner.
The non-dog. I have 2 cats, 4 kids, and now I can tell my kids we can't get a dog. And that's the most important thing right now. But I grew up with a dog, so I have that balance, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. Next, we have a communication from the city manager. We've already thoroughly explored that. An order for a 60-day trial. Motion to waive the full reading by Council Leahy, seconded by Council Laurie. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Reading by title in City Council order pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, concerning Section 266 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations. Temporary traffic regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. So wish to council. Move to approve by Council Laurie, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. Roll call, please.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, is that the Riverwalk Way?
Yes. Yes.
Believe so, yeah.
No, I put that motion in a while ago to make that residential parking, and the administration did. Eric Eby was down and Mr. Bakey, and now I know they're going to extend it even farther. And I just want to thank the administration and the DPD for reaching out and taking that a little bit farther. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Counsel Mendonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next, we have a vote to authorize manager to execute a memorandum of understanding for the SEIU Local 888, Chapter 159 for water and wastewater for the period of July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2015. Motion to waive the full reading by Council Martin, seconded by Council Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. In City Council vote. Authorizing the City Council to ratify and approve the execution by the City Manager of the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Lowell and SEIU Local 888, Chapter 159, Water and Wastewater, covering the period July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2015.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Council Laurie, seconded by Council Martin. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
No.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Counsel Mendonça.
No.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Next, we have a vote to apply, accept, expend $11 million Tiger 5 infrastructure grant for the, through the DPD. In City Council vote, authorizing city manager to apply for, accept, and expend funds from the Federal Department of Transportation's Tiger discretionary grant program for up to $11 million to support the design and construction of significant infrastructure improvements throughout the downtown and focusing on the Hamilton Canal District.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Council Laurie, seconded by Council Martin. Roll call, please.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Counsel Mendonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
It's 9 yeas.
Next, we have a vote to authorize the city manager to enter into a license agreement with UMass Lowell for the University Suites project. Motion to waive the full reading by Council Mendonça, seconded by Council Leahy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. In City Council vote, authorizing city manager to enter into a license agreement with University of Massachusetts Lowell with principal offices at 1 University Avenue, Lowell, Massachusetts 01854, for use of the City of Lowell property to wit, a portion of 333 Aiken Street and within the Aiken Street right-of-way for access to said property for the University Suites project.
Thank you,
Councilor
Mr.
Lori.
Major. Just for disclosure, my wife works for the university.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to accept.
Motion to approve, seconded by Council Martin. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mayor, could we
Councilor
just get a
Kennedy.
quick explanation on this?
Mr. Manager? Madam Solicitor?
This is part of a series of projects that the university is undertaking. With all of their projects, time really is of the essence. They're looking to get a lot of things done during the course of the summer months. This one involves some work on the sidewalk. They're going to be expanding the sidewalk range, and there'll be a few more coming our way. And I think ultimately what we'll be looking at are easements for these projects. But this was just to get them on site, have us secured with insurance, and to continue working with them on the larger plans.
Thank you.
Councilor Elliott?
How long, just a continuation, how long is this license agreement for?
They had originally anticipated being done within, I think, about 30 days. And I think in the interim, we're going to be, within those 30 days, we'll be coming back with a permanent an easement for the council's consideration.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Nun.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Lori.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Counsel Mendonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next, we have a vote to transfer $3,500 for audio equipment. Motion to waive the full reading by Council Martin, seconded by Council Mendonça. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. In City Council vote, order to transfer $3,500 to the city manager's office to cover the costs for the purchase of a new sound system for public ceremonies. It's the wishes of council. Council Mercia.
May I just say that attending most ceremonies out front there, this is a grand, great motion, because it's embarrassing to say that we have a budget of like $312 million, but yet people can't come up on the steps of City Hall and make a decent statement because the crackling and going silent of the system. So thank you very much for this great motion. Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Councilor, I just want to say that this is to provide a more of a even playing field for the rest of the speakers, because I've watched you and you don't seem to need that. So
Thank you.
we're just trying to even things out for the rest of the people.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Councilman Mendonça.
I believe that was a motion to approve by Council Mercer.
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
second the motion.
Seconded.
And also state that not likely to improve the rest of us speakers, but at least we will be heard, which was becoming unpredictable of late as to whether the sound system would project or not. So I do agree that this is a good investment.
Thank you. Council Noon.
I just want to echo Councilor Mendonça and Mercia, that is, there's a need for it, and I guess we need to have a reliable sound system, and this certainly, hopefully, will address those issues. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Nun.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Lori.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Counsel Mendonça.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia. Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next, we have an ordinance to amend the zoning in Rogers Street to extend the TMU district. Motion to waive the full reading by Council Martin, seconded by Council Lori. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. In City Council ordinance, an ordinance amending the code of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts with respect to Chapter 290 thereof entitled zoning by extending the traditional mixed-use zoning district to include all parcels located in Lowell with frontage on Rogers Street as well as the entirety of 39 Whitehead Avenue, 550 Douglas Road, and 500 Wentworth Avenue in Lowell, all of which are presently zoned regional retail. Entertain a motion to refer to the planning board for report and recommendation and to a public hearing on June 25th, 2013 at 7 p.m. So moved by Councilman Mendonça, seconded by Councilman Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Mr. Mayor,
So voted. Councilman Martin.
I thought there was a, something in here about the public hearing date, with, request that it not be before July 9th.
I didn't see that.
That's in the memo. Council, because the planning board needs to have its own public hearing. If the council wishes to schedule that hearing at this time, please select a date no earlier than July 9th.
We'll work with the clerk to make sure it's scheduled at
Did you say the 25th?
the 25th.
I had spoken to someone in the department. That's the day we came upon, but I think we should probably just schedule it now for the July 9th, I'm sure is a Tuesday. So we should just schedule it for the July 9th date.
Okay.
So moved by Councilman Mendonça as amended, seconded by Councilman Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have an ordinance to amend Chapter 272, Article 6, Section 272 through 287, annual sewer use charge. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Noon, seconded by Councilman Mendonça. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. In City Council ordinance. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, with respect to Chapter 272, Article 6, subsection 272 through 287, entitled Annual Sewer Use Charge. Entertain a motion to refer to a public hearing on June 11th. I'm not sure about that either, whether that's...
Budget hearing.
It says June 11th here. I would entertain then a motion to refer to a hearing on June 25th at 7 p.m. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Martin, seconded by Councilor Laurie. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have a communication from City Manager, request approval of out-of-state travel, one for Department of Planning and Development. What's the wish of the council? Move for approve by Councilman Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Laurie. Roll call, please.
Councilor Dorn.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Mendonça.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next, we have subcommittee reports. Personnel Subcommittee for May 28th, 2013. Councilman Mendonça.
Yes, the subcommittee met today at 5 p.m. President myself, Councilor Mercer, President myself as a chair, Councilor Martin, Councilor Kennedy. Also present were Mayor Murphy, Councilor Mercer, Councilor Laurie. We went over the modifications that were made to the proposed amendment to the ordinance, and the highlights were that the 6 days were being reduced to 12 to be consistent with all the new contracts that are being negotiated. Sick buyback is going to be eliminated for new employees. The grid that we're going to use until a new grid can be created is just an increase of 2.5% of the existing grid, consistent with the raises being given to the other units. And once it's adopted, a classification study will be done so that the grid can have the appropriate salaries added to it and be brought to the City Council for approval. At this time, it's not ready for adoption yet. There's additional language being looked at. It's going to stay with the City Manager for the time being until he's prepared to bring it forth. And that was the recommendation of the subcommittee, that we proceed as such, that the City Manager will continue to work on it and bring it back for review and a vote when it's ready. And if my colleagues on the subcommittee have anything to add, they may do so. Otherwise, it's a report of progress.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the report? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. Under 5614, One thing that's a concern is the language, the grid system shall be upgraded annually. I think that should be may be upgraded in accordance with, of course, city council adoption. It just, I don't think anything should, I mean, the chair said that there was, the COLA was going to be, you know, tied to a consumer price index or something, but it just seems that we're mandating every single year. I just think that should be changed. You consider changing that because.
Mr. Manager.
No, go ahead.
Council, it's, I think it's essentially here, Councilor, I think it's, there may be, I understand what you're saying, and I think it may be just some sort of semantics. I actually had a discussion earlier in the evening on this with someone that, as far as I'm concerned, the upgraded doesn't necessarily mean increased, in my opinion. I think the grid should be reviewed, shall be reviewed annually for cost of living increases as provided, you know, below how it's spelled out. It still will need to be anything will need to be approved by the city council. So
Okay.
I might be amenable to just going with May, but
Gotcha.
I think we are on the same page on that.
Okay, all right. That's fine, thank you.
Any further discussion? Entertain a motion to accept his report of progress. So moved by Council Mercia, second by Council Noon. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. We have one claim under general petitions for property damage for personal injury. One claim for property damage, one claim for personal injury.
Refer to the law department, Mr. Mayor.
Motion to refer to the law department by Council Kennedy, second by Council Laurie. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. First motion of the night by Council Mercia, request the city manager ratify the settlement agreement between the city of Lowell, the city manager, and Mr. Walter Bayless Jr.
Second.
Seconded by Council Elliott. Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some time ago, it was quite clear that Mr. Bayless's services was not wanted as a board member on the License Commission, and at that time, Mr. Bayless met with the city solicitor and the city manager in executive session to discuss certain issues. I remember that happening. Recently, I have obtained information concerning this issue, and I feel, in my opinion, that I am obligated to inquire as to this issue at hand, because if a violation occurred with regard to this agreement that was reached, agreed to, and was broken, I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't act to clear this matter up. That, to me, is my responsibility. Point of clarification through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager. Mr. Manager, if an agreement is made between the city and an individual, what happens when the agreement is broken?
Well, if the agreement is broken, either party has the opportunity to pursue legal remedy.
And I ask you, Mr. Manager, did you at any time reach a settlement agreement with Mr. Bayless?
I did enter into a settlement agreement with Mr. Bayless, yes.
Was there a part of this settlement agreement that guarantees Mr. Bayless and his wife continued health, dental, and life insurance coverage for the balance of their lives, regardless of whether or not Mr.
Counselor, I'd ask the city solicitor to weigh in at this point, because you may be putting the city at risk. Madam Solicitor.
The agreement itself has a confidentiality clause, which is not at all unusual. And it's also something that extends to both parties. One of the issues that had come up is that there was an understanding that if either party were to in any way break the confidentiality agreement, that the agreement would be deemed null and void. If what is occurring is somebody is asking you to go and break the agreement rather than that individual coming forward and breaking the agreement, not only is that troubling, but it also holds some potential ramifications for the city. And so, again, I would caution us all
right, so
with respect to
and I don't expect
revealing anything.
I don't expect you to answer. I don't expect...
It's not a question of answering, I guess, for the manager. It's more of a question of somebody putting you in the position of having you disclose something that they themselves know that they shouldn't be disclosing.
Right,
And
right.
having someone else do that for them.
I understand what you're saying, but the fact remains to me, what is more troubling is I know that we as a council go into executive session, and I hold that very sacred. I would not ever have even told my husband what we discussed in there at the time. So to say that I picked up the phone and called the newspaper or here or there, I would never do that because I respect that. But then after a certain amount of time goes by and things are settled and it's gone by, the minutes of the meeting are released to the newspaper, to the public, and everybody knows what went on there because of the time that lapsed and people know what happened. But what's troubling to me is the word confidentiality clause. I don't know where this came from. I don't know how, and I'm just speaking, thinking out loud as to, Mr. Manager, how do you have the authority to use those two words, confidentiality clause? Because what that means to me is I can go into not me personally, someone like whoever goes into executive session, and whatever they say in there and agree to, it's sealed, and nobody has to know anything, and I can agree with everything that I want to give you, and then 2 weeks later I can give you a letter and say, you know what we agreed to? You're not getting it now, but nobody's going to know that because it's a confidentiality clause. And that to me is more troubling, because is this the type of government that I want? Where's the transparency here? Where's the upfront, and where's the credibility of giving a word? And it doesn't even pertain to this. It could be anything.
Madam Solicitor.
And this is what's troubling to me, and this is why I'm bringing this up.
Madam Solicitor.
A couple of things. First of all, with respect to confidentiality agreements, particularly of a personnel nature, this is something that they're not at all uncommon in government employment and particularly departure. And the issue actually has been recently litigated. There has not yet been a decision. And the issue before the court, there was a request from the Boston Globe recently to release these. We always release whether there's any sort of a monetary component, as we did in this particular case. But beyond that, there was a request from the Globe for an agreement of this nature to be released in its entirety. It went for a preliminary injunction. One of the standards that the courts will look at is the reasonable likelihood of success, as well as other things. At that point, it was denied, and the matter has proceeded to trial. And I think regardless of what the court ultimately decides, and we're awaiting that decision, it doesn't involve the city, but it involves the city as it does every other community in terms of what ultimately that decision is going to be. I think the functionality of these types of agreements is that it allows a community, a municipality, to move beyond, say, a difficult employment situation and wrap it up, and to give them the freedom to be able to, the liberty to be able to do that. But it's also intended to protect individuals as well as the community, and those are just some of the issues that may be at play here. With respect to any allegations that the city would enter into an agreement and break an agreement without getting into any specifics here, suffice to say that, as the manager had said at the outset, if an individual believes that something like that happened, there are remedies. The remedies would be enforceable in a court of law, or parties could, as they had in this previous case, turn to mediators and try to mediate out whatever differences may exist between the parties. Oftentimes, as you're well aware, there are two sides to an issue, and it's not necessarily a clear-cut issue.
Well, I know what the word regardless means, and that's what's troubling to me. There's key words in agreements, and you can look up whatever law you want to try to get out of it, but, And you're telling me that I can't speak, but I'm not a party to this agreement. I'm certainly not a party to it. I didn't go into executive session while everybody was there and agree not to talk. Someone, put this in my home, not inside, but in the hallway, and I came across it, and I'm not gonna look at all this and not say anything.
Right. Well,
Well, so be that as it may, and the reason I am bringing it up is because somehow it seems that circumstances arose and nobody knows how someone supposedly violated something, but yet some time ago, someone advised this person that he could go from one entity to another, and yet the person is no longer here. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because you are the city manager, we are the council, and in time, you won't be here, I won't be here, there's nothing you can do then. Nobody's obligated by this agreement, except the people that are in place here right now. There was a commitment, there was an obligation, there was a settlement agreement, and once we're all removed from this, nobody else is responsible for it, and that's why I'm bringing it up now. I just don't know how you can put the words settlement agreement and not live up to your bargain. I don't get it. And I'm not Judge Judy. I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to do what's right. I'm trying to represent a constituent who, I don't know how it got in my possession, but I'm not going to just sit back and not allow some discussion as to why did this happen. And that's why I'm bringing this up, because I think an injustice occurred. That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong, but it's my opinion. An agreement was reached with the words slapped, confidentiality clause, and then everything was, not everything, some of it was reneged upon, and I think that's not right. That's not why I sit here. I sit here to create fairness to people, and when I promise something, my word is very, very important, and I think so should this administration. That's where I'm going with this. I think, and it's easy to say, well, you can appeal it. Do you know how many thousands and thousands of dollars you need for a lawyer when you could have did the right thing the first time? There's a figure on this agreement that seemed like a lawyer was paid this amount. It wasn't for the lawyer. A lawyer's cost much more than what the price here was, so I don't know what type of injustice we're trying to do here, but I, for one, want to go on the record and say, I'm not a part of this agreement, but if I had been, I would have kept my word. That's all I'm saying with this motion.
Councilman Mendonça, would you mind taking the chair, please?
Mayor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The question was just asked, is this the kind of government that we want? Now, we sit here for the second time in 2 weeks with a motion before us to put the interest of an individual above the public interest. And so my answer is no. That's not the kind of government I want. That's not the reason why I ran for city government in the first place. I don't believe that that's how city government ought to run. I don't believe that this really belongs on the council floor, and I would urge all my fellow councilors to vote no on this motion.
Councilor Mercer.
Thank you. I'd like to respond. Well before you were sitting here, Mr. Mayor, a situation came up with a past city manager, and he called it reorganization, and he took 16 people that were city employees, and he reorganized them right out the door. I said, You have just created something wrong, and I'm not going to sit here and support that. It is going to come back to bite you, and lo and behold, it did. And every one of them sued the city, and we paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I will never, ever sit in this seat while I feel an injustice has occurred. I will not do it and keep my mouth silent when I think something is wrong. That's my opinion, and I do want transparency. That person is my constituent, whether he put this paper here or his grandson, I don't know, but I'm not gonna sit back and let it take place when I see the word, regardless of whether or not this person should have been entitled to continued insurance coverage as part of his retirement or not. And I can read. I'm not a lawyer, but I can read. Thank you.
Anyone else? Council Martin?
Well, I don't have the benefit of seeing this agreement. I don't think any of us have. And I don't really know what's being requested by this motion to go on record as far as some agreement that we just don't have, and that apparently, by the terms of it, is supposed to remain confidential between the parties to the agreement. So I don't see how we could support this without having much more information about what's involved here.
Councilor Leahy?
Thank you. I mean, I can see both sides of this. If an agreement was made, it should be honored. And as far as, comments made, I think we are here to if constituents come to us with a problem, then that's what we're here for, to stick up for them and to let them be heard. So, I mean, this is a tough decision. We want to just make sure that whatever agreements we make are honored. So I don't know if you do vote on this and where it goes in support, if we go back into executive session. But I think something needs to be done to make sure that if people we represent feel that they're wrong, then we hear them out and we represent them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Councilor Elliott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city agreed to something with Mr. Bayless. There was litigation going on a number of months ago. And I think Mr. Bayless, and I've not spoken to Mr. Bayless, I think he feels he was wronged. And I happen to agree. You made a deal with him to drop the charges or to drop the litigation in lieu of his resignation, and he just wanted to keep his health insurance based upon the information that he had. And then, lo and behold, the agreement is signed. Both parties agreed to it. Let's keep it between us. That's the deal. Fine. And then the rug is pulled out from underneath him by a vote of the auditor and the CFO and the retirement board. And I can understand his point. And if the law is the law, are we saying that we didn't know it before this agreement was signed? We had the city solicitor involved in it. So should Mr. Bayless have been notified at that point in time if he wasn't eligible? I'm sure he probably would not have pursued the track that he did. So maybe some people don't want to talk about these things, but they do belong here. Because when government wrongs its people, it's up to those people that represent them to bring it forward. And maybe you don't want to talk about them, Mr. Mayor. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it keeps government on its toes, and it is about transparency. If people feel that they are wronged, they shouldn't just have to say, oh, okay, well, that's the way it is at City Hall. I got no alternative. And that's why we're here. And I do think that they should be discussed. And that's the only vehicle that people have, and that's why they should be coming to us. So I support the motion. Is it to ratify the agreement? I think the agreement was, this is what you're giving up, this is what I'm giving up, this is what the terms of the agreement are, and we should live up to it. So I think it makes all the sense in the world. And I understand, just as the solicitor said last week, and the manager's saying, look, you can appeal it. Just take us to court again. And you know, for the average person, even last week, they don't have the money. They don't have the money to fight, you know, lawyers and City Hall, as they say. And that's why there is this body, I think, to bring issues up. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Maybe some people want to talk about it. I think it's good.
Mr. Manager, do you want to?
The only comment I'll make is that, in my opinion, and I believe the solicitor agrees with this, that we have not failed to abide by the agreement that was reached. And with regards to the council's involvement with this, if Councilor Mercy wants to bring an issue like this in, you know, I don't know, she can't be stopped. I think it's up to the council to decide how to handle it. But this is a legal matter, and I appreciate that hiring lawyers costs money, but ultimately this is a matter of law to be judged by courts, to be judged by legal authorities, or you know, people that and institutions for which that is their purpose. It's judged on the basis of the law, not on the basis of opinion and public opinion and political opinion. It's judged on legal interpretations, and that is where we find this now. There's a number of things that are moving on this particular matter that still need to unfold, but my opinion is we have lived up to this agreement.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have not seen this so-called confidential agreement. You know, like Councilor Mann indicated that, you know, to come here and ratify something that, you know, that is confidential, and I don't know, no council have seen it. Maybe, or maybe only I did not see this agreement. And the concern I have is that what is this going to put the city and the rest of the public under? We're talking about the city reneging on its agreement. Do we have enough? Do we have anything? I don't have anything in front of me to say that the city has reneged its agreement. If I do, I might look at it. Yes, we should be discussed this, but this is not the place to do so. It's potential litigation. Taxpayers going to pay for this. We may want to discuss this maybe in public, the executive session, yeah? But before discuss this matter, we have not have that agreement in front of us to say what we should or should not do. And it is the opinion of our city solicitor. That's what we hire her to do, to look out for the city, to look out for us. And that's what she's here for. And that, in her opinion, that we may be liable if we discuss this breaches agreement. I can't support this because I don't have the information in front of me. Thank you.
Councilor Laurie.
Thank you. I haven't seen the agreement. I know Councilor Mercy has read it. I happened to bump into Mr. Bayless over the weekend. I hear Mr. Manager say, you know, his piece. Isn't this with a mediator? Well, only from what I read in the paper.
It was, but this was, the settlement agreement was worked out with the help of mediators, two local attorneys that worked on this. But like many issues, I guess, from what I'm hearing tonight, there's a difference of opinion as to what language means and what the circumstances of that language mean. But we've abided by it. We're complying with Massachusetts state law and the way we administer this. And I took an oath of office when I became city manager that I wouldn't violate, that I would uphold state laws, state constitution, and as well as the ordinances of the city and so on, as we all did. And the law is clear on issues regarding this, and we're abiding by the state law.
Mr. Bayless is here tonight, I imagine with his attorney. But he hasn't spoken. No one has spoken from that side. If this goes into a legal matter or back to a mediator, are we going to honor the agreement from that point on, or whatever's decided by a third party?
Sure, I'm not 100% clear in terms of the question or I guess the implication, but again, our position is that there are many issues at play here, and the city's position, as we've moved forward, I believe is the correct position. If there is any litigation on this issue, and if we had an adverse decision, we would, after contemplating any further litigation, obviously we would ultimately abide by whatever the courts would say. And that's something that I had indicated at the outset, and also what I indicated at the outset is not only can this be something that's litigated, but Mr. Bayless has an attorney. In the past, we have gone and utilized services of a mediator to look at any potential conflict, as we had in the past, and that's certainly something that could happen now. But that's very different from having this type of a discussion where people apparently don't have all the information and apparently are hearing information that I think from the city's standpoint, the city administration standpoint, we disagree with.
But if it does go forward, and it's an adverse decision against the city, we'll honor the decision. I agree. I don't think this belongs in the council chamber. I believe it, and I see Mr. Bayless as an attorney, so I'm sure it's going to go to the next step in a legal system, and then we just abide by the decision. But I haven't seen a document as a council, and I'm not qualified to make that decision. You want to do the right thing, you want to abide by, and if that's where it's going to go, that's where it's going to go. But I haven't seen the document either, so.
Councilor Elliott.
So did the city know that the terms of the agreement were not going to be legal when they entered into the agreement, or the mediator? Somebody not know that what Mr. Bayless was asking for was not allowable? Or did we just enter the agreement, it seems, and then all of a sudden, somebody realized, the CFO and the auditor, through the retirement process, said, oh, we can't do this?
That city solicitor, I'm not even sure you can comment on that.
Sure. Well, again, there are, if we're going to have a discussion about this, I would suggest that we have it in executive session. Once again, we are sort of strolling down a path of having public discussions about matters of litigation, matters of potential litigation, matters of past litigation, and it's not advisable. We represent the city, and these types of discussions are not healthy to be having in an open forum with respect to the city's position. Again, I guess the position that somehow there are provisions in an agreement that are inappropriate or, I don't know exactly what your words were, illegal, again, we disagree with it. But if the proper forum for this would be in an executive session.
I just think we should just cut to the chase. Mr. Bayless was after the agreement was signed. The agreement was mediated by somebody from the city manager's office, and then all of a sudden, okay, well, it wasn't from the council, so there was a mediator.
Well, it wasn't a mediator that was appointed by the city manager.
Okay, well, there was a mediator. It doesn't really matter.
Well, both parties agreed to a mediator.
Okay, there was a mediator, and I think the point is, the terms of the agreement are null and void because apparently the city can't do it. So just uphold the terms of the agreement, I think, is what the maker of the motion is asking. That's all.
Mr. Manager.
And if that's the case, Counselor, we are upholding the agreement.
The agreement included, apparently, and I've not seen the agreement either, but it included provisions that were certainly not agreed upon by Mr. Bayless. I think if he would have known what was going to take place, maybe it wouldn't have been, he wouldn't have agreed to it.
All right, the city solicitor.
Again, this discussion, the statements that you somehow know, you haven't seen the agreement, yet you know what's in the agreement, it again becomes troubling. Another counselor was actually provided with a copy of the agreement, which is a violation of the agreement, which makes the agreement null and void, which Mr. Bayless, through his attorney, was advised that that would be the case, which again is why I cautioned Councilor Mercier at the outset of this, that perhaps she was being used to break an agreement that someone else wants broken and isn't doing it themselves and is instead using a member of the council or members of the council to do what he cannot do or shouldn't be doing according to an agreement, according to a confidentiality agreement, which, by the way, he was one of the moving factor behind. He insisted on a confidentiality agreement. He insisted on lots of different things, and we resolved the matter and we put it to rest. There is, pursuant to this or parallel to this, another process that took place, and that was through the retirement board. That's something that nobody in this room has jurisdiction over. There are other issues that came to the surface, not from the manager, not from myself. Apparently for Mr. Bayless. He brought these issues before the retirement board. It is a separate board. Obviously, like the council, it functions by majority vote. There aren't just two members on that board that vote. It is not controlled by, say, the CFO and the auditor. It is an entire board. And the issues that were raised before that board, it is my understanding, that there were documents that were submitted by Mr. Bayless, and those documents contained information that was not true. Now again, these are matters that are potentially complex. What we do here can have an impact on the city. What I have suggested all along is that we proceed cautiously, that we let this play out in the proper form. And this wouldn't be the proper form, certainly not an open session, and even an executive session. Mr. Bayless, again, has an attorney. There isn't just the recourse of actually filing a suit and going to court. As I've said repeatedly, there's other options as well. There's mediation. That's if somebody feels that there is a violation of the agreement, they are free to pursue that in the proper form and not necessarily utilizing people with half information or partial information and bringing it before this body.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move that we go into executive session to discuss this. It seems like if we're going to carry this on, and I haven't even really spoken on it yet, that the best way to do it is in executive session, and then see what happens there. But, I mean, we've been cautioned several times by the city solicitor at this point, and the motion reads to ratify the settlement agreement. I haven't seen the settlement agreement. I think that most people here, most members of the council have not seen the settlement agreement. It's impossible for me to vote affirmatively on ratifying an agreement that I haven't seen, and I would hope that it would be impossible for most of the other councilors who have not seen the agreement to do that as well. So I think that maybe if the council retires to executive session to discuss this further, it might be that it would be beneficial, probably at least more beneficial than this discussion is going to end up being an open session. So I would make that as a motion.
We have a substitute motion to go into executive session on this matter, seconded by Council Laurie. Any other discussion on the substitute motion? Council Mercer?
No, it isn't on the substitute motion.
All right, then we'll...
It's just a general comment.
Well, can we deal with the substitute motion and
Yes, go ahead.
Roll call, please.
Is it on the subject matter? Because then she won't be able to speak on it after this vote.
Well, it was just a, you know as well as I do that you could have 5 attorneys in a room and get 5 different answers and interpretation of any given subject. So I want you to clearly understand that. I'm interpreting it my way as well. But I feel that once the agreement wasn't honored, the agreement was broken, and I have every right to speak, so that's why I'm speaking.
okay. On the motion to go into executive session immediately and to return to public session after, and seconded by Council Laurie.
I would have said after. Get the...
Yeah, at the let's do the rest, if there's no objection,
no.
Let's do the rest of these motions first and then do it, is that okay?
Yes.
Roll call first.
Dismiss?
Yeah,
On the
well, we
motion.
have to know on the motion, just to go into executive session
At the conclusion of this
at the
meeting.
conclusion of the meeting, and we have to know whether we're adjourning or returning to public session.
We're
Return to
adjourning
pub-
from
All
executive
right,
session,
so
as
just
we
has to
always
be
do.
in the motion.
Can we-
Roll call.
Excuse me, you also have to state the purpose for going into executive session.
Good point.
To discuss,
To discuss the settlement agreement.
right.
That's, it would, the purpose for going into executive session would be if there's a pending matter of litigation or if litigation is imminent. Now, in this case, I have had discussions with Mr. Bayless's attorney. I don't know if he has a different attorney, and since he's in the company of another attorney this evening. But in any event, the discussions that I have had with Mr. Bayless's attorney were some time ago, and I have reached out to him on at least 2 occasions, probably within the past, last week and maybe about 2 weeks earlier than that. I have not heard back from them. I don't know what their present plans are. Perhaps the better move right now is for the city to be able to explore that with Mr. Bayless's counsel to see if litigation is something that is imminent or not. It was certainly discussed in the past, but again, I haven't heard anything further. And in the meantime, Mr. Bayless is here tonight, attempting to, I don't know, secure a benefit in a rather unique way.
Roll call.
Excuse
So,
me.
to discuss potential litigation
To
with the
discuss
settlement.
the ratification of the settlement agreement by the city council.
All right, roll call.
No, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Bayless is here. Can we ask him to speak? You asked him a question, what his plans are. Why don't we ask him?
We're in
Well,
the middle of a roll call, right?
Yes.
And that also raises concerns at my end, since the attorney that is with him is shaking his head that he's not his attorney. The attorney that is apparently representing him isn't here, and again, puts me in a difficult position because normally you would not be having conversations with a potential plaintiff particularly one in which we've just concluded some matters of litigation, without their lawyer here, which I guess is further evidence as to how inappropriate this entire proceeding really is. So for the motion, if I could just add on, the motion wouldn't necessarily, it would have to involve either pending litigation or litigation that is imminent, which is why I had suggested that perhaps the better course for us at this point in time is to give me an opportunity to reach out to Mr. Bayless's attorney and to get a better sense as to what his plans are with his client.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Kennedy.
Is the city solicitor suggesting that I withdraw the motion? Remember that I made the motion on your recommendation because you were suggesting that it was the proper move would be to go into executive session.
I appreciate that, and I do appreciate it. And I guess my point is that if we were to have these types of discussions, we should be in an executive session setting. And what I'm adding on to that is that in order to immediately head into executive session this evening may create certain issues. And so my advice would be, again, to give me an opportunity to reach out to Mr. Bayless's attorney and find out what their plans are.
Mr. Manager?
Just a point of order or a point of clarification, I'm not sure how best to phrase this, but there was a comment made a few minutes ago by a counselor indicating that he believed that he was being asked to ratify the settlement. I believe the motion by the counselor is for requesting the manager to ratify the settlement. So it's not the council that's ratifying the settlement, it would be requesting me to do so. And my response to that would be that I am living up to the settlement agreement that's been reached.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If the person who seconded the motion, Councilor Laurie, doesn't object, then I withdraw the motion and go into executive session. And no objection. And so I'd just like to speak a little briefly on the motion. As I said in my earlier remarks, I think that it's difficult for me to support, well, it isn't so hard now because the manager's made it a little bit easier to support the motion because it won't be me ratifying the contract, it would be the manager. But I will just say this, and without having knowledge of what the agreement is, it seems to me that if the matter is around retirement and retirement benefits, that issue should be a black and white issue. You are either retired, you're either entitled to retirement benefits or you're not. There is no gray area. And part of those retirement benefits end up being insurance. And that should be all squared away. And that is not up for the city to decide whether or not you're entitled to those benefits or not. It's for other entities to decide that. And so if the administration entered into an agreement and made those agreements, they wouldn't be lawful agreements. So I would expect that that's probably not what happened. But in terms of asking that the city manager ratify the settlement agreement, I'll support the motion.
All right, just to clarify, the substitute motion's been withdrawn. We're discussing the original motion. Councilor Elliott? Nothing else further?
I would request a roll call on that.
Okay, roll call on the original motion by Councilor Mercer.
Councilor Nguyen.
No.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
No.
Councilor Mendonça.
No.
Councilor Mercier.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. No. 5 yeas.
Motion passes if the mayor would resume the chair.
Next motion by Councilor Elliott. Request the city manager provide a report on the ways cities could assist businesses forced to purchase the wireless fire alarm boxes. Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, we learned last year from a report from the Inspector General that the bidding of fire alarms wasn't done properly, and property owners were disadvantaged as a result of it. We asked for a report about the ways and means on trying to help these businesses, to assist the homeowners that they had to buy these boxes that were significantly more expensive, well over $1,000. In light of the housing court, I would like to see if the decision from the housing court, I'd like to see if there are ways to help these property owners. They're the ones that are hurt by this policy. They were required to buy one particular box, and I think we should try to do something about it, because they had to pay the extra money out of their pockets. So,
Madam Solicitor.
Can I finish?
Madam Solicitor.
Excuse me,
I
Mr. Mayor.
apologize
I wasn't done. I had the floor. So
You
Well,
did.
I understand
And I
that, but
recognize that,
Madam
although
Solicitor.
I would just like to state that, again, what you're
Wait a
discussing...
minute, wait a minute. I had the floor, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't done speaking, and I'm entitled to finish my statement.
You're going down
Thank
a
you.
road that I
Okay.
think that Madam Solicitor would like to weigh in on before you finish that road.
Policy's been set by the city. I just want to finish. The city of Springfield
Madam
has
Solicitor.
gone through this, and they're looking at making changes.
Madam Solicitor.
Thank you. I apologize, Counselor, for asking to interrupt you. However, again, this is a matter of ongoing litigation. Actually, the city was approached, and we're exploring a settlement with the parties. Having this discussion publicly, I think, again, is ill-advised. As with the other issue, you and I may disagree on the underlying merits. However, where we are potentially close to resolving an issue, I would not want to see the city, whether it's the administration or the council, step in and begin participating in a way that's going to undermine any potential settlement. And again, we were approached by the other side in this matter, and would like to see that through.
Okay, did we receive a report of any nature on this? On potential litigation? Are you speaking with other parties? Was the council made abreast of it?
If I may, I don't think the council was made abreast of that. The council is certainly aware that there's ongoing litigation regarding this matter. And if I might suggest, if the council wishes to...
No, my point, reaching out to try to provide some remedy with the other parties, a ways and means to try to offset the costs that they had to pay. I wasn't aware that...
Council, we're not... Again, we're venturing into an area where there's ongoing discussion with the party involved in this. That may or may not include any of those things you're asking for, but I prefer, as city manager, I would prefer to follow the advice of the city solicitor that this not be bandied about here. Just pass it on, and I will get you a response.
Okay.
And that would apply to 22, 23, and 24.
Any further discussion on this motion? All those in favor, signify. Excuse me? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Do we wish a roll call on this? Roll call, please.
Roll call on what, please? Clarify what the roll call is. The motion?
Roll call on the motion.
Counsel Noon.
No.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
No.
Counsel Martin.
No.
Counsel Madonza.
No.
Counsel Mercia,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy,
No.
4 yeas.
Next motion by Council Elliott, request the city manager provide an explanation for the city's fire alarm policy for large residential properties.
Second.
Seconded by Council Kennedy. Council Elliott.
So along the same lines, and I must have missed something, because I asked my colleague if we were aware of ongoing litigation with these parties, and I wasn't aware of it. So this is the first time that I've learned of it, which is the reason why I filed the motion to get information, but it failed. So last year, the state Supreme Court ruled, again, with the ordinance of the city of Springfield that requires one type of box, just like the one that was required here was illegal. And that first we initially changed our policy to go along with the decision, and then we revert back to requiring one system. So what I don't understand is why we just didn't go with the state building code that's very clear to say that there are 4 options to do this, yet we required one, then we revert back, and now we're apparently going back again.
Mr. Manager,
Counselor, I'll be happy to get your report on that.
any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next motion by Council Kennedy. Request the city manager provide a report regarding any policy changes in safety and financial ramifications as a result of the recent housing court decision regarding the fire alarm signal system. Seconded by Council Laurie.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My motion, I guess, is very similar to the ones that were filed by Councilor Elliott. It's my understanding that there is not ongoing litigation. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the housing court recently decided against the fire department here regarding the fire alarms, and that the city is considering an appeal. That's a little bit different than ongoing litigation to me. However, all my motion asks for is, and similar to the motions that were filed by Councilor Elliott, is a report on whether or not the city's policy is going to change regarding fire alarms as a result of the court decision, and what the ramifications are for safety and any financial ramifications or exposure that the city might have because of the city's previous policy before the housing court decision. I think that there's nothing out of line about that motion. And when the housing court decision appeared in the paper, we were not given a report by the administration on that, and there was nothing in the packet on that. And as far as I'm concerned, this motion is absolutely in order.
Mr. Manager.
Counselor, again, I'll be happy to get your report on that. I don't think I'm questioning any of these motions as being out of order necessarily. What I think the solicitor and I have tried to say is that the discussion of these beyond the simple report that then we can respond is the way to handle this, given the fact that an appeal is underway and there are ongoing discussions with the parties.
Madam Solicitor.
Just to add on that, as far as the status of litigation, there is an actual appeal of the decision.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next motion by Council Kennedy. Request the city manager explore the potential for widening East Merrimack Bridge during the construction delay. Seconded by Council Elliott. Council Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council learned a short time ago that the construction to the bridge that goes over the canal on East Merrimack Street was going to be delayed by 2 to 3 months, which brings us to the end of the summer. It'd be Labor Day before they'd start to do any work on that. So I think that it's worthwhile to at least explore the possibility of maybe putting a metal plate or something over the exposed side of the street in order to widen it for the summer. That's a long time, and the traffic, while we have two-way traffic there, the two-way traffic has to sort of pinch its way through to get through there, and over the course of the summer, there are events that go on downtown where there's a lot of traffic involved. I think it's better to find out whether or not this is, at least according to what I've been told, this is absolutely possible to do this. It's whether or not anybody's going to come up with the finances to do this. But I do think it's worthwhile. I think it's a good thing, and I think that if we're going to, if the roads, no work's going to be done on that road till after Labor Day, then we should try to provide some sort of traffic relief.
Council Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager, in wartime, they have such a thing called the Bailey Bridge, and the Army Corps of Engineers comes by and they can construct that. Why? And that's such a short span. In my personal opinion, I think that the Rogue Bridge is actually an oversized Bailey Bridge, so I don't see why we couldn't just extend that with a piece of a Bailey Bridge to open it up while we're waiting for, there's a gas pipe under there. Isn't that what they're?
I think it's an
they didn't
electrical
realize?
conduit.
Oh, something's under there. I thought it was a gas line, but, so that is a good motion, and I think, why couldn't we solicit their help and say, could you construct it? It takes 4 hours to do that. Did you realize that? They do that in war, when bridges are blown up, they construct it. They have to get over to the other side, and they do that. We have this means. This is the 21st century. I don't know why we can't do that. So it's something to look into. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next motion by Council Kennedy, request the city manager report on whether or not the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, the Lowell Civic Stadium Committee, and the Green Building Committee should be abolished. Seconded by Council Elliott.
Through you to the manager, we're practically at a point now where there are no holdovers. We're very, very close, I think. These three committees have a lot of holdovers, and I think on one of them, there's really only one person on the committee. We have had a discussion about the viability of these three committees before, and so it's something to consider. I mean, I think that if these committees don't meet, and if they don't have membership, and if there's not interest in them, then maybe it's time to abolish them. And so if that's the case, then I would request that the city manager bring that forward. So I think it's just either fill them or get rid of them for these three.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you. Mr. Councilor, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee and the Green Building Committee do meet on a regular basis. I apologize that with the getting the more established positions filled and working on the budget and the capital budget, and I haven't had a chance yet to work with these. The Lowell Civic Stadium Committee is also known as the Arena Commission, has been one that's been placed on hold given the status of the lease that we have with the Spinners as opposed to the operation of the management of the arena. So their responsibilities have been reduced and there hasn't been a need for them to meet. They are required by statute, but I will certainly go back and work to see if that is still needed. But we will be coming up with appointments. I'll be meeting with Mr. Wellenstein on the solid waste and DPD on the Green Building Committee to see where we are with those people.
Mr. Mayor, the information that I received from the city clerk's office, and according to that information, first of all, these are all just advisory committees to you. According to the information that the city clerk has, there's only one person on the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. So I don't know who they meet with, how that works, but there's a bunch of holdovers.
My favorite committee.
It's only one person. Anyways, if we can just get something from you on the future of these three committees, that would be good.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next motion by Councilor Kennedy, request the city manager appoint or reappoint 2 members to the Animal Advisory Committee. Seconded by Councilor Leahy. Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, I'm not sure if maybe we're down to 1 member at this point, or maybe we're all done. I'm not really sure if we're at a full complement. If we are, then that's a good thing, and if we aren't, then let's try to get there next week or at the next meeting.
We are at a full complement.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next 3 motions are mine. Councilman Mendoza.
Next motion by Mayor Murphy, requests city manager report on translation services provided by the city and potential translations of most relevant passages of the city's code of ordinances. Seconded by Councilor Laurie. Mayor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that the city does provide a number of different translation services. We did, throughout the master planning process, we had translating equipment that was used so that we could get as much input as possible. There are other documents that I know get translated from time to time. And this is really just to get an idea of where we are right now in how we might make things a little bit more accessible to people, make City Hall more accessible, particularly the more used city ordinances where we could have the biggest impact when you have people from different cultures coming into the building department, for example, that you would have some kind of translation and hopefully in that way improve code compliance and that sort of thing. So I'd appreciate a report. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion's carried. Next motion by Mayor Murphy. Request that the council adopt resolution in support of the Earned Pay Sick Time Act, House Bill 1739, Senate Bill 900, in order to provide minimum protections for often lower-income private sector workers, now more than afforded to those in city government. Second by Councilor Laurie. Mayor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had included the language for this legislation, which is up for a public hearing sometime later in June. Earlier today, we had a subcommittee that met on our personnel ordinance, and we in fact reduced the number of sick days available to our employees from 15 to 12. But many people in our community really don't have access to any days to care for themselves, to care for their children, or to care for their own sick relatives. But I think from a public health standpoint, in terms of long-term health care cost containment, but also in terms of keeping our community safe and productive, that this is worthy of support. What this legislation would do is provide a minimum standard so that for companies of less than 6 employees, you would be an employee would have up to 5 unpaid sick leave days. For employees of 6 to 10, businesses would have to provide 5 paid leaves, up to 5 paid leaves, sick leave days. And then from businesses 11 or more, you would have to provide up to 7 paid leave days. So it's not a huge, it's not obviously what we provide here in the city for our employees, but I think it is something that would make a significant impact here in the city.
Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Here's a perfect example of a motion that is asking for our support, and yet I don't have any information on this in front of me either. And I'm supposed to support this, so maybe I do support it, but I don't, again, have any information whatsoever. So I don't know if
Just to clarify, the Senate Bill 900, there's a copy in the packet.
well, I didn't see it.
A copy should be in each councilor's packet.
Anyone else on the motion? Councilor Elliott? Or?
Well, there's a bill in front of us, and I read through the bill, but it doesn't, it gives an explanation of what it accomplishes, what it's supposed to accomplish, but it doesn't give you an analysis of the impact that this may have on businesses. It may make some sense, but, Councilor Mercier has a good point. There's a bill in front of us, but, what exactly are the implications of this bill? So I'd move to amend and table this until we get more information on this, on the implications, the benefits, and how this may affect, small businesses in this, not only in the city, but statewide.
Motion to table until we can get more information. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Mercer. Any discussion on the motion to table? All those in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
No.
Any opposed, say nay. Or do we want a roll call? Roll call.
Counselor Nunn.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Laurie. Counselor Martin.
No.
Counselor Madonza.
Yes.
Counselor Mercier.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
7 yeas. Excuse me, 8 yeas. 8 yeas.
That was the motion to table until we get additional information. Last motion of the evening by Mayor Murphy. Request city manager explore discussion with Comcast on providing more Wi-Fi hotspots in neighborhood business districts and other strategic areas of the city, and to continue to explore options for more public Wi-Fi access. Seconded by Councilor Mercer. Mayor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is something just to take into consideration is you have ongoing contract negotiations. I think that, it's not quite providing public Wi-Fi access because it's essentially Comcast in some other communities has provided the Comcast service. So if you get the service to your house, then you would be able to access that in other places throughout the city. So this is to look at some areas that might be strategic in attracting more people, particularly to some place like the neighborhood business districts or parks and that sort of thing. But also to simultaneously be working toward trying to provide more public Wi-Fi access so that you do have those people that don't subscribe to Comcast to be able to access the internet for a number of different reasons.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Motion to adjourn by Councilor Laurie, seconded by Mayor Murphy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. We stand adjourned. Thank you.